package charge take?
That's another great question.
From the Gettysburg Museum of History Studios, high atop Baltimore Street, in a maximum security facility complete with central air, it's AG Today.
Hello, folks. It's Patrick Gorman.
Hi, this is Jake Busey.
Hi, this is Bruce Boxleitner.
This is Tom Vera from A Gettysburg Christmas.
Hi, this is Bo Brinkman.
And you're listening to Addressing Gettysburg. I'm glad you're listening. Thank you.
There's a devil to pay.
Did you say Ed Lincoln?
Good night, everybody.
Bonfire.
You're listening to Addressing Gettysburg Today.
I love this podcast.
Hello, exactly.
Put that on a t-shirt. Holy hell.
Look it up.
Come on, man.
Don't post that.
All right, Carmen, relax. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Addressing Gettysburg Today, and it is today indeed.
Once again.
Just like yesterday was.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
We got to come up with a more dynamic, like, right off the bat thing to say.
A cold
I'm
open?
not-
What, like that would be, maybe we should start doing cold opens where we just go live and we're just in the middle of some stupid conversation, and then we get to a point where there's like a laugh or some poignant point, and then I hit the, from the Gettysburg Museum of History Studios, I hit the button and it just starts live, and we sit back and we relax for a second and then wait for it to finish.
I think it'd be good, man. That was some of the best parts of The Office, are those cold opens.
Exactly.
Parkour.
There you go.
Yeah, that would be good. Maybe we should do that. Maybe we got to experiment.
We might have to try it once so that
yeah.
I totally understand what you're saying. I'm just going to talk until you tell me to stop.
Well, that's the whole idea.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Got it.
By
I'm
all
on
means, by all means, keep talking. Then it's less for me to do.
Because that goes over so well.
So what is new with you?
Ezra started school.
All right. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, it's Bethany Yingling sitting in. It's
hi.
not Veronica. It's Bethany.
Shocking. Sorry,
don't
everyone.
get confused.
Sorry, everyone.
No, don't apologize. People love you too. I just wanted to make sure people understood that this is not Ronnie, because some people don't pay that close attention to who's who. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As I recall it, empty my kazoo.
That's Veronica. That's Veronica.
Yeah.
Actually, she did send in a message because she does miss the audience, and she misses so many shows nowadays. She sent here it is. Here it's from Veronica.
Oh my God, they're taking this. Oh, it's so unnatural, and this is going to look horrible, and this is bad, and how can they do that? That looks slippery, and this looks bad, and that's a bad color, and oh my God.
I like that Pittsburgh accent, Keller.
Color.
Did you hear that?
It's real,
That's a
it's
bad
real
color.
faint, though. It's not a very pronounced
No,
accent.
no.
Very faint. You got to really be listening.
You know what else I noticed she does? I was listening to a previous episode, and she was talking about the cemetery. But she says, if you listen closely, she actually pronounces it cemetery.
No.
Yes.
I'm gonna.
Cemetery?
I've actually noticed it in person for many years, but I keep forgetting to call her out on it, and then it just popped into my head now. And of course, it's not fair because she's not here. But
Yeah.
when she gets back, she can certainly, we can talk about it.
I don't know what it is about the Western PA accent. It really gets to people.
Yeah, it does. It's grating.
Well, if I
Is it really? Am I grating?
No, it's not.
Okay.
No, the Boston accent is grating.
Yeah.
Boston's funny though. Usually they're funny too.
Yeah, there's a lot to say.
They do have funny ways of saying. Yeah, they do have a good sense of humor there, until you make fun of the Red Sox or something. But otherwise,
don't do that.
No. But yeah,
Or Tom Brady.
Some accents are New York. Pretty grating.
So apparently, way back
Certain
in the
ones.
day, like
Yeah.
in the early 2000s, because I was pretty little, my mom was watching one of those late night TV shows, and they had on one of these guys that teaches actors accents and dialects and things like that. And so they asked, okay, what's the hardest one to teach of an American accent?
Wait, let me guess. Boston.
No.
Wait, let me guess.
Probably a
Louisiana.
Southern accent.
No, he said without a doubt, Northwestern Pennsylvania.
Really?
He said because they have an accent all their own.
Well, but they all
Because
have an accent all their own.
But like we make up words and things that don't have
like
any.
yin.
You have a language all your
Yins
own. Yeah, yins.
and Dornicks and
What's a Dornick?
like a hit on your head.
Wait, how is that a door? I don't
Yeah,
get it.
I don't get that.
I
either.
don't know either. I just grew
How
up
would you
with
use it in context?
Go ahead.
I ran into the wall and I got a Dornick.
Oh, like the
Like a
door
boo-boo.
nicked you on the head?
You got a boo boo.
Yeah, like a goose egg.
Ah. So like a lump.
Yeah, Dornick.
So it's a specific kind of wound.
Not necessarily. Usually it's on your head. That is specific. Yes.
But it
So-
doesn't have to be a lump.
So you can't get a Dornick on your elbow
No.
or your knee.
It's like you
just
get
your
a
head.
goose egg.
Okay. All right. So like so you bump
And
your head and you get a
We
Dornick.
up again something. We're always
We're up against something.
yeah, and we read up.
We've read up.
Red up is I've heard that in many places.
Wait, does that mean ready to go? Like
No,
ret
like
to go?
clean up.
Clean up. Oh,
Oh, wait.
clean up.
No, that's
Yeah.
not what I thought that meant.
Yeah, when you read up something, you're cleaning it. You're
So
like,
you
pouring
you
it.
just read up the studio
I just
before
read up
we
the
started the
studio.
show.
Yep.
You also get French fries in your salads.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God.
Very healthy.
Yes, with ranch dressing.
Leave
and
me
cheese on
alone.
top.
I'm eating
It
healthy
comes
today.
like that on the menu, man.
Yeah.
I know.
It blows my mind.
I know.
Yeah.
I've known
yet
about
to
it for
order
years,
one.
and I still can't like wrap my head around it.
I,
There's
no, I can't
huge signs up too that say pizza, beer, and pop, and that really freaks people out
either. Why?
Why?
because it's not soda.
Well, pop. That's
Pop.
Michigan's
Yeah, a lot of
pop.
people do that.
Yeah, pizza,
That's like
beer,
a
and pop.
Midwestern thing, isn't it? Pop.
Well, we say it too.
Yeah, but you guys are
And
like on the
pop
fringes.
machine.
They say it.
You guys are like, I consider like the Pittsburgh, Western PA to be on the fringes of the Midwest.
If you go to the, Route 76 is also the Turnpike,
Turnpike.
and you look at the maps. Clarion is labeled as the Great White North.
Really? On the maps?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Why?
I don't know.
A lot of snow or no
you get
minorities?
The lake effect.
Oh, okay. So
No,
snow.
and no minorities.
Yeah.
I lived out there, so I lived in West Newton, PA. Do you know where that is?
I don't.
Oh.
West Newton is it's southwest of Pittsburgh, probably like I don't know. I can tell you that it's about an hour and a half northeast of Morgantown.
Oh, I know. It's by
Chattanooga.
yeah.
It's right by there.
Yeah, okay.
And dude, I mean, I'm telling you, it's about the size of Fairfield. It's tiny. It's got one restaurant, it's got one gas station, and one grocery store. It's on the side of a mountain. And dude, that lake effect. When I lived out there, the lake effect was no joke.
Yeah, it's a serious
Yeah,
situation.
it doesn't sound fun to me.
I freaked Mark out because I sent him to the grocery store up home to get ham. And he was like, well, what kind of ham? Like, do you want tavern ham? Do you want
Taylor ham.
whatever?
Right.
Ham. And I said, just go to the counter and ask for ham. And he's like, okay.
Wait, like what counter is he going to?
To the deli counter.
Okay.
So like sliced ham for a sandwich?
Yeah.
Okay.
Deli ham. And he's like, okay. And he went up there and asked for ham because there's only one kind.
Is there?
Yeah. It's already cut. It's sitting there. You have in my mother's grocery store, you have 4 different types of meat. You have turkey, you have chicken, roast beef, ham.
And you're talking deli
Yes.
meats. Okay.
Yeah. And chip chop ham.
What kind of ham?
Chip chop ham.
Chip chop?
Is it
So,
chopped
okay.
into little pieces?
Ham, what you call ham, would that be Virginia ham to the rest of the country?
Probably.
Okay.
I don't even
And
know
then
what
chip chop
Virginia
is
ham
just
is.
chopped up ham? Like little cubes that you would put in a salad?
Like they cut it so thin on the slicer that it just falls apart.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah.
See, that I like. I don't like
They
ham,
call
but I
that
would eat
chip
it
chop
like
ham.
that.
But it's already cut and it's already sitting there. And Mark thought he was going to go up and ask for like tavern ham or what, a specific thing and have all these options. I'm like, nope, just tell him ham.
So, and then you would get regular ham or chip chop ham?
Well, we usually do chip chop ham.
But so did he get up there and say, I need a pound of ham? And then they'd be like, which in yins want? chip chop or ham? And then he'd be like,
like
I don't know, my wife told me ham, and I didn't have to know anything
that's
more.
pretty much how it went.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's
So
Or
like
Dornick
with that,
ham.
those are the
What'd you
only
say?
options.
He said he wanted Dornick ham.
Dornick ham.
Dornick ham. And then they threw it at his head.
Ooh.
So,
Right, but that's it. You hit the nail on the head.
no, you hit Mark on the head with
Yeah.
chip chop ham.
Yeah.
So,
He doesn't do well up there.
no, so it is interesting though that you guys do have, and not only do you have your own language out Western PA and in Pittsburgh in particular, but you also you're very proud of it,
Yes.
and you wear your Yinzer T-shirts and
And you're from either the south side or the north side,
okay,
Pittsburgh.
and I guess that makes a difference to them out there,
Yes.
but not to the rest of us.
Yeah.
And then, but when you go, you kind of wear it with pride. It's like you're your own country within the country. What's interesting? It's interesting.
Well, it's a lot. I've always said the only bad part about growing up in a small town like that is that you realize that you're related to yourself. And I know that people, yeah.
What does that
Did
mean?
I never tell you this story? Okay,
No, I
guys,
don't think so.
everybody that's listening right now, you're going to think less of me after this, but understand that it was done before I was born.
Okay.
Just remember this.
Go ahead.
So I got the Stallman family tree.
Is that your
My
mother's
maiden
side?
name.
Okay. Oh, it's your
Okay.
maiden.
And there's a thank you for
Sorry,
yawning in the middle of my
it's not
story. I
you.
love you
I
too.
think I'm coming down with something.
I really love you. And
Case of the snoozes.
I know, right?
I'm coming down with the case of the snoozes.
Fine.
Sorry, Beth. No, please
Okay.
continue, please.
So I was looking at it, found my name and my sister's name in it, and we were underlined. And I'm like, ooh, what does underlined mean?
Yeah.
I thought it meant something special. It meant that if you're underlined, it meant you were also related again through the family. So your name would have appeared a second time somewhere, but for the sake of not...
Wait a minute.
Wait,
You're going to have to really explain what
Go
you're
into more
saying.
detail about this.
It means like somebody married a cousin, and I am
Okay.
related.
No, crystal
so
clear
you
now.
are the product of cousins marrying.
Here's the best part. I'm underlined twice.
Oh
Get
my
out.
God.
Get out.
Really? So wait a second. Hold on a sec. So which one of you plays the banjo?
None of us actually. I had to move 4 hours away to get married.
Avoid marrying your other cousin.
Get out of here. Really?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. So wait a sec. So how are you your own cousin twice over once
I
removed?
actually don't honestly know. I haven't researched it, but because when Mal and I saw that, we were like, never mind, and we put it away.
Yeah, you didn't want to know.
I didn't want to know who married who.
She's got a bunch of Jerry Lee Lewises running around in her family.
Something.
So you don't know. So that must have been further down the line, or is it more recently? Like, is it someone who's still alive? That's married their cousin?
I know it's not my parents.
Okay, that's good.
It's not your
Yeah.
grandparents. You would have known that, right? All right, maybe it is your grandparents.
Is it your grandparents?
Based off recent things I found, I think if what I think is happening is true, and my great grandmother actually did have a little bit of a fling, then that would mean
Carnal
that,
relations.
yes, with somebody not her husband, which was always the rumor. Then that means that my grandfather on my mom's side is the uncle of my grandfather on my dad's side.
Wait a minute. What?
This sound you're making it sound like you're from West Virginia.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
So wait, explain that again.
So there was always this rumor. My grandfather, dad.
Sorry, Cam.
No,
Remember, this is all before I was born.
Yeah. Okay.
My grandfather's
years ago.
dad
yeah.
went to work one day and never came back. They don't know what happened to him.
What?
Yeah. And
He just disappeared.
he just disappeared.
No
Didn't, like,
trace.
No trace.
No, he didn't end up in like the corner or anything with the corner or anything. He's just
No,
gone.
like they knew he was still alive, but they don't know. They don't know where he went. or
when
why.
would this have been? Like, what's the
I'm
era?
afraid.
1921.
Okay.
So that
22.
was happening a lot though, because you're still dealing with the depression
Yeah.
at that point,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and a lot of guys are doing that in that era.
Yeah.
They're just disappearing.
They just can't. They can't do it. They can't support the family.
Yeah.
And I
so they
think-
leave.
I think what it boils down to is they're so ashamed they can't even go home to see the family.
Yeah, I understand that. That makes sense.
Well, apparently that's not what happened here. Apparently it was
his men elegantly.
exactly.
Okay.
You should get shirts made.
Yes. That would be a great shirt.
Just Avril with a bunch of like at signs and stars. And,
Yeah.
Exclamation
Avril
marks.
his men elegantly.
His men elegantly could be on the back like a dot dot dot. His men elegantly. We've interrupted your story so many times.
It's okay.
I'm so sorry.
It's probably best.
No. I'm interested. I'm trying to break the tension of talking about cousins marrying. So go ahead. So continue. So he leaves with no
leaves,
trace.
no
Nobody knows
trace.
what happened to him.
And the story always was that he was so mean to Grandpa. Like Grandpa remembers him, and he said he was not a nice
So
human.
good riddance.
Yeah, good riddance.
Right.
And the reason that he was so mean to Grandpa and not to Uncle George, which was Grandpa's older brother, was because my great-grandmother had an affair.
So Grandpa was the product of the affair.
Yes. Is the rumor.
Is the rumor.
Now, who was the affair with?
Right.
So a local judge.
But in relation to you, who is this affair with?
Cousin.
Well, I recently found out because I got a thing from Ancestry.com that said, your great-great-grandmother's birthday is today. Come look at her record. And I looked at it and I saw that she had married this judge. And this is on my dad's side.
And this is how the Wapner side of the family came to be.
Exactly.
Nobody remembers Judge Wapner. Never mind.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm
So
sorry, guys.
that means that if that is true, that means my grandfather on my mom's side would be the uncle of my grandfather on my dad's side.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that's something.
Did you guys have a wheelbarrow anywhere?
No.
I don't. So, but here's the thing, though. That was very common. Cousins marrying.
That I mean,
Oh, yeah,
honestly,
all
it
the
was.
time.
Yeah.
you have that up. I mean, well, I made the Jerry Lee Lewis comment a minute ago. That happened in the 50s. You know?
I know. From my life, I know two couples who were cousins,
Yeah.
and they had kids. They were completely normal.
Yeah.
The grandkids have four heads, but but it skips a generation. But
Yeah.
no, I mean, I know people that have done that, and
Yeah.
and
So
and again, like it's only weird to us today,
Day.
but for the vast majority of human history, that was how it was done.
Yeah.
And like Jerry Lee
That's how you
Lewis,
kept property
there would have been
together
a
and
huge
stuff.
age gap. Yeah, exactly. And that's also how you get hemophiliacs.
True.
So
I have a new topic just to bring it up since we're on the subject of Jerry Lee Lewis. Do you think he would have surpassed Elvis if he wouldn't have had that issue going over to England?
No.
His new cousin wife.
No, I think Elvis had something that Jerry Lee Lewis didn't have. That's the Colonel.
It's called hips.
The Colonel.
No, Elvis had much more charisma. Jerry Lee Lewis was cool.
He was
I mean,
the original rock and roll
Yeah,
star, man.
yeah.
Like he's wild.
but he was too wild. Elvis was, and he had the Colonel, guiding him. And I think Elvis, he's a better looking guy. He had I think a much better voice.
Oh, Elvis's voice is.
Yeah,
amazing.
and he had this charisma to him that I'm not a fan of Elvis, but I'll tell you, anytime I see him, I gotta watch.
I enjoy early Elvis. When he gets into his later stuff, like the opera stuff,
That's the funny stuff,
I'm not about that. But his early stuff, I'm a big fan of.
like jumpsuit Elvis.
Yeah,
rhinestone
I'm not
jumpsuit.
there. But Jerry Lee Lewis, his voice is actually really good if you get him singing country.
Yes,
It's when he sings rock and roll. It's just, I mean, it's not that it's bad or anything. It's
it's just hard to show his range. Yeah, his
you ever
talent.
heard the $1 Million Quartet?
I don't think so.
So when I was young, I would think I was in middle school. My grandparents took me to Memphis, and we went to Sun Studios. We did a tour, and I had never known this before, but early on, before Jerry Lee Lewis was famous,
Right.
I think Johnny Cash was just getting radio play. Elvis was already big, and Carl Perkins was making an album at the time, I think, to release, to be able to, before he met his fame as well. All four of them were in the studio together, and they jammed for like 5 hours. And,
Wow.
And what's the guy that owns Sun Studios name? Sam.
Sam's son.
Sam.
I can't remember.
No, I can't either.
It's Sam something, I think. He had the foresight to hit record on the freaking equipment, and
Smart.
they have like 4.5 hours of 4 of the guys that started rock and roll just jamming.
That was my favorite. One of my favorite songs on the Derek and the Dominoes album, Layla and Other Assorted Love Songs, is called "Key to the Highway." And it starts fading in. And the reason it fades in is because they were just warming up, jamming on that song. And the engineer he didn't even have the console on yet. So he just is like, oh crap. And so he turns everything on and starts recording. And that's why it's fading in, is because it just starts recording. So they had to like fade it in because it just was an abrupt, start.
Like a cold open.
Like a cold open. And it's one of my favorites because they're just kind of jamming. They're not worried about getting a good take because they're not supposed to be recording it. It's just a jam.
So good.
Oh, it's great. You got to look. Key to the Highway, Derek and the Dominoes. It's fantastic. And there's even like some mess ups in there and stuff because it's just a jam. Dana Luffer says, try it a time or two. Never know if the cold open will work until you try. So maybe we'll do that. Eric Houston says, cemetery is not a Western PA thing. So maybe Veronica just does that on her own.
Maybe.
Hey, I resemble that remark. Fraser Baby said, I'm a Western PA. I am Western PA. Okay, all right. We're not knocking Western PA. It's a Pittsburgh accent, or Yinzer. Clarion would be Northwest PA. So they apparently don't.
We say Yinz,
They don't
too.
claim you.
That's okay.
Never heard that in my neck of the woods. I don't know what that is. A dornick is also a large rock you find when you are digging.
Oh, so it's like a...
Where in the country is that a thing?
I think that's
Dornick?
just an
That's
universal
Pittsburgh.
thing.
Or out west. Eaton Park.
Eaton
Park.
Park.
What is that?
It's
Is
a
that-
restaurant.
It is a restaurant. Okay. That sounds
And
good.
did you ever...
Sounds delicious.
How would you respond to the following thing?
Go ahead.
Did you eat yet?
Yes, I did.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
The correct response is no, Joe.
Right.
See, in the South, what's the comedian?
Jeff Foxworthy?
Yes, he has this bit he does on it.
Used to could.
Yeah, y'all eat? No, you want to? All
Y'all
right.
too? Yeah. I had my roommate was from North Carolina in college. And he taught me some of those things like yomp to.
Aye.
All right. And then y'all eat, there was yomp to. What were some of the other ones? I can't remember
You
now.
know, a big one you can tell someone's truly Southern is the way they say shoot.
Well, shoot.
But it's shoot. You gotta
Shoot.
really you gotta let that thing carry out a little bit. Shoot.
Shoot.
Really
wait,
pronounce
I'm
those
not hearing
O's.
it. Go ahead. Do it again.
Shoot.
Shoot.
Yeah.
Oh, I
You
see.
just record it.
No.
I said shoot.
That's just Cameron.
That's
Oh,
West Virginia. They don't
shit. I said shoot.
I'm just messing with you, Cameron. Thanks for thinking it was funny, buddy.
Hey, what happened?
Avril his men elegantly.
That's right.
Anyway, so that is interesting. The different dialects in the country, same language, just different ways of speaking it, and then words that come out of it. Like we're talking with the South and yomp to, and then somebody taught me one. She was from North Carolina. Burnt slam up. You ever heard that?
Say it again.
Burnt slam up.
No,
Or
I've
burnt
never-
slammed up or something like that.
I mean, I would
What's that
imagine
mean?
that's drunk or tore up. Or like,
Yeah, something like you just somehow messed up, I guess. Or maybe somebody in the comments knows better. It's like 20 years since I was told this, so I don't remember what the definition of it was. But yeah, it's that's interesting stuff. All right, so let's see here. A couple of things I want to tell everybody before we move on to the next segment. That is this: if you're coming out to the Get Out of the Car tour in September, I'm curious. What do you think? Should I just tell them there's a special guest that's going to be there, or should I tell them who the guest is?
The tour is.
Tell me who it is, and then I'll tell you. If
All right, hold on. I'm gonna mute the mic so
Cover
that
your
only
mouth
we can
so we
hear
can't
each other.
see.
No.
Yeah, cover
Well,
our
you
mouth.
guys, no, I can do it where the audience won't hear. I'm taking us off the air for a second.
I say tell them.
Tell them.
Yeah, that's a tell him.
Okay. Next week, I'm going to tell you who's going to be. No, I'll tell you right now. All right, so Dr. Peter Carmichael is going to join us on our September 16th Get Out of the Car tour. Don't forget also September 15th, I'm moderating a talk about the 151st PA up at the Seminary Ridge Museum and Education Center. That'll be fun. So anyway, Pete is coming out. He was invited by Lewis. And of course, he's got an open invitation for me to do anything he wants to. I love Pete, but he's going to come out. We're talking about Robinson's division out on Oak Hill and Oak Ridge, and should be fun. Should be fun having Pete. I said to Lewis, all right, Lewis, next year we got to think of things to do to kind of get people involved more in the tours, right? Interactive stuff. I think so. I think after a while you can stagnate and then you start to lose people, right? So you need to do things that
keep it interesting.
You have to make sure that nobody's going to steal the stage. We had that problem.
Who stole the stage? Well, don't say. Who
I'm not going to tell you who, but like we've had that problem.
Wait, tell me who, but I'm going to take us off the air.
You wouldn't know him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And they just like took it, and I finally had to be like, and you're not the guy. Let's move on.
Yeah. Was it a guest? I mean, was it a tourist or was it a
person you invited?
Person you invited as a supplemental guide.
It was a tourist.
Oh, see, that's annoying.
Yeah, that's different.
That is so annoying.
That's just someone trying to come in and prove how much they know.
Yeah, just showing off, right?
Yeah.
Who wants that?
Unless it's coming from you, right?
Well, me, yeah, that's okay. That's
Ghost of
welcome.
Sickles Leg says I need a T-shirt with a single stick and no branches for my family tree.
Oh,
they're coming after you in the comments.
Guys, I told you it wasn't me.
Somebody
It
do the other
doesn't make
part.
it any better when you do it right at me.
Look at you right in the eye.
Yeah, look at me right in the eye telling me that I'm in it.
What was there? There was something here. Kevin says, you guys are confusing regional accents with regionalisms or idiomatic expressions. I'm not confused. I don't even know what you just said there, Kevin. How am I confused? I don't even know what it is. Accents are pronunciation, inflections. Idiomatic expression refers to peculiar words or sayings. Well, now I know what it is. And I still don't know what you're talking about. What were we talking about?
Dornick.
Dornick would be an idiomatic expression.
All right. Is that also a colloquialism?
Cemetery would be an accent.
Cemetery, or just maybe something going on in her brain that never really. Yeah, maybe that's the Veronica thing.
If I hear her say that, I'm going to
Iranianism.
look right at her and be like, Veronica, you're a lawyer.
Oh!
How are you saying that? You're a lawyer. You went to a law school.
How did you get through? How did you pass the bar and you say cemetery?
Listen, how often do you think she has to say cemetery?
Well, I mean, if she's
As a
dealing with
lawyer.
murder cases, maybe a lot. Who knows?
God.
You know?
Because the murder
just
happens
saying.
before they go to the cemetery. Probably not that much.
Yeah, so she can get away with.
Now you're sure it's every time, or was it like a mistake?
Or is she making
when you
fun of
noticed?
somebody? like people who say
no. When she does the
Calvary
news, when she
instead of
does
Capital.
when she does the news, sometimes she'll be like, and don't forget, 100 Nights of Taps still going on in the cemetery, and which, by the way, next weekend is the last
one.
Yeah, this weekend.
Yeah.
is the last.
this
God, it's 100 days have gone by since
I
the
know.
first one. That is sad.
That's what they mean by 100 nights.
I know.
Ooh.
That one was a good one.
It was.
No, but really, I think you next time Veronica's on, let's try to get her to say cemetery and see if she does it.
Sure, I believe you.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I just want to point out, as again, Ghost of Sickles Leg says, FDR married his cousin.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's not
boom.
crazy. It's not crazy.
It's not crazy. I mean, it's the way it was. I mean, our generation thinks it's a little weird because
Well, because also
It
too,
is.
you can like back then if you were from a small town, chances are you're not going to meet too many people that you
Exactly.
aren't related to.
And cousin was far enough away in the bloodline.
But now you can interact with people across the world, so you have no excuse not to find
I
someone.
told you
outside
I
of your
moved
family.
4 hours away.
Yeah, you had to go away to find
I had to
a
go away
different
to
gene
find
pool.
a different gene pool that
Let's
somebody
mix
that
this
wasn't
up a little
related
bit.
to
Let's
me.
see what we get.
Oh, God.
Yeah, we got Ezra, and he's adorable.
Oh,
He is adorable. He doesn't look inbred. He doesn't. He's adorable. His eyes are aligned right. He's very cute. He's smart, too.
I'm going to tell Mom this later. Matt says it's okay. Ezra doesn't look inbred.
Patrick says culinary history, philosophy, town travel tips, sports and sidewalk conditions, small town genetics. AG today has it all.
You should put that in the description.
That's
for
a
the
great
show.
one. I'm going to put that. Yeah, I'm going to have Dusty or Amy record that for the bumpers. That's pretty good. Tom Canavan says, understatement of the year, my grandma had a little fling.
It was such a polite way to say that. You know?
Well, I didn't want to. I don't know.
I loved it. I'm not judging. I thought it was very. I thought it was very tastefully done.
Thank you.
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Yes. My great grandfather's sister is the same thing, just left one day and never came back.
So I'm telling you, back then, I think it was very common for that to happen.
Yeah.
I
Maybe
just
that
did an
wasn't
episode-
sister. Maybe that's is. Yeah, go ahead.
I just did an episode on Audie Murphy a month ago. We had an episode on Audie Murphy come out. His dad did the same thing.
Left one day and never came back?
Yeah, and you know when we hear
Wow.
people lamenting that things aren't the way it used to be, right? And men were men, and
Yeah.
stand up, and the
left
men
a lot.
left.
Yeah.
They left.
Yeah.
They were
you
also
know,
raging alcoholics. most of the time.
exactly.
And when right now there's this big trend online about
Sam Phillips from Sun
I
Records.
saw that.
Yeah, okay.
I saw that. Yeah.
have you seen this whole thing about grandma core?
What's great?
I don't even. This doesn't sound like I'm gonna like what this is.
No.
Oh.
It's like it's a thing on Pinterest right now where people are trying to harken back to the decorating their homes and,
Like with
and
Hummels
living like their grandmothers did, like
Yeah.
a simpler lifestyle.
Yeah.
And the problem is they're like, well, you know, there just aren't enough hours in the day to do this, and this. I'm like, well, first of all, most of us are working.
Yeah.
Our grandmothers weren't.
We're not. Yeah.
And if they were working or of a certain social class, they had servants or somebody who came in to
Wow.
help them.
What kind of people do you know?
Well, like my grandmother,
Yeah.
my grandmother did laundry for people. These women weren't doing their
I was going
laundry.
to say, you came from a family that could afford servants?
No.
But you're saying your grandmother was one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like she did laundry for people. So there's a whole class of women who weren't doing their own laundry.
No, right.
So the fact that we put so much pressure on ourselves today to do all of this stuff,
You can't do everything.
You act. It's not possible.
You have
These
to
women
really-
back then weren't doing it. Why
No.
are we trying to put it?
I mean, honestly, it's not politically correct to say, but you really have to decide what you want to be.
Oh,
do you
100.
want to be a homemaker or do you want to be a career person? Because it's not that
can't
people
do both.
can't do both. It's not that people don't do both, but you can't effectively do both. It's too much.
No.
You know, like, like you can't. It's just, and it's nothing against women. It's men can't do two things either. You know, you're either one thing or you're not. You can't do everything.
Yeah.
Too bad we can't, because life would be far more interesting if we could do everything we wanted to do.
Yeah.
But we can't.
I wish I had the gumption to get on Pinterest and just like start commenting on these women who post about.
I wish I knew what the hell
Yeah,
Pinterest
I was going to say, how often are you surfing Pinterest? I thought it was something you shopped
I
on.
never
Oh my
understood
God,
it.
I'm on Pinterest all the time.
But what is it? I don't understand
It's
it.
basically you can post boards like and talk
What do
about.
you mean by
Yeah,
boards?
you're speaking lingo. I don't.
I don't know how to explain it. Cindy, explain Pinterest.
Cindy, do you do Pinterest?
She
She
looked
does
like a deer
Pinterest.
in the headlights for a minute, but
Yeah,
yes,
but she
she
does
said
it.
yes.
You do. You do it.
Board.
It's essentially
Move closer to the mic, please.
so there's pins,
Right.
which are usually linked
Like a bulletin board.
to websites, recipes, pictures, things like that.
Right.
And you put them on your board for things that you like.
Okay.
So you can create boards for different things.
And then what do you do? Go back and refer to them when you're like, oh, we're going to
Or you
decorate
can,
the kitchen?
they're out there for people to see.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Oh, you don't have the speaker on in there, Colby?
It's very low.
It's very. How about now?
So-
Is that better?
Yes.
No, it's just getting louder in my headphones.
Oh, in your headphones.
Yeah.
Why is it getting louder in your?
I don't know.
Maybe
But
this is what I
my
have to
mic
do.
is super loud right now.
Yeah, well, I turned your mic up so that she could be heard, but okay. All right, anyway, so it's like, okay, so I get it. So like it's like a bulletin board type of a thing, and then you find things. So I want to redecorate the kitchen. So you look for kitchen tips or whatever, and then you put it all together, and then you come back and you look at it and go, all right, which one are we going to do? And
Exactly.
All right. So it's, I have no use for that.
Well, I do.
Okay.
So for at the Children's Museum,
Wait,
I
I'm
use
sorry.
it a lot.
Tom Canavan said, everyone hit the like button. Tell all your kissing cousins to also. That's funny. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't remember. Oh, for the Children's Museum, I use it a lot.
Right.
Because people post on there like crafts to do with kids and games to do with kids and things like that. So I use it a lot to come up with ideas for events. But on the flip side of that, it also makes you feel like crap because there's all these women out there who post these things that make you feel like they're actually doing this.
But they're not.
They're not.
They're not.
But,
Ladies, don't fall prey to that.
The best way to, clean your home with only 15 minutes a day. Bull.
Right.
Yeah. They're trying to make, so those posts, they're trying to get paid.
Yeah, they have affiliate links and things like that. And now sometimes you'll find a cute, like when I was looking for a cleaning solution to this material you have here,
the rubberized.
I went to Pinterest to find what people do to clean that.
And what do they do?
Actually, a lot of people use that sticky stuff, the
I tried. It didn't
slime
work.
stuff. It didn't?
No, I was trying to get some crumbs out from in between the little things. It didn't grab them. I know. I was disappointed.
Okay, well, I'll have to come up with a difference.
So I just flipped the table over and kicked it and cursed at it a little, and then that was enough to dislodge everything. But I broke a lot of stuff too.
I have
had to get new microphones.
Little cracks and crevices in my office that I get things in, and I have to get it out. I use those freaking the keyboard.
The air blower cans. Yeah. That works too.
I basically dust my office with that.
So you have cracks and crevices in your office.
Yeah.
Ooh. You've been trying to read this thing for.
I know. I've got other stuff here I wanted to answer. Okay, so here we go. Let's move along. All right. So if you're a first lieutenant on Patreon, on our Patreon account, I appreciate your patronage all this time because it's the video element thing that you're supposed to have. And what I used to do, here's what I used to do. When we would do a show, and I had Eric here with me all the time.
Yeah.
He would operate the camera and record, right? And then I would go in. I'd cut out the bullshit banter in the beginning, and I'd cut out the bullshit banter at the end.
The cold opening.
Which sometimes I would make a cold opening out of them if there was anything good, but for the most part there wasn't. It was just us warming up and talking about whatever. And then if it was like an Ask a Guide, I would add commercial breaks in the middle.
Okay.
Or if it was a Patreon episode, I would just, there would be no middle. It'd just go straight through. And then upload it to Patreon. Well, upload it to YouTube and then share it on Patreon to this first lieutenant level.
Okay.
But then what happened was, we were in a shed that had unreliable electricity.
What?
Very weak internet.
No.
Yes. And then the time that it takes to edit a video, even simple edits, right? The actual cutting and cleaning up and all that doesn't take very long. When you do it long enough, you can go boom, 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 right? The problem is you now have to render it out. And so every little effect that you add, every little thing you do has to be rendered, and then it makes the video file, right? Then you have to upload it to YouTube, and YouTube takes forever to upload a video.
Really? You'd think that they'd have that quick because that's all they do.
Patreon takes longer for me than YouTube does, typically. But YouTube, you're right.
Patreon takes longer for you?
Yeah, because instead of uploading it on YouTube and sharing it to Patreon, you can upload a video now.
Directly, yes.
So that's
new, and I'm going to start doing that. But what I've decided to do, which I think is going to make for better shows anyway, is when we do an Ask a Guide or we do a Patreon episode, I'm going to live stream for the first lieutenants the recording session.
Oh, okay.
And we've been doing it as like a preview /
so it's like behind the scenes.
Yeah, sort of. I've been doing it for the last couple of weeks on YouTube, and people tune in and watch and everything like that. Now, we don't do a lot of Ask a Guides, because Ask a Guides, we need to do 2 a month. So what does that come to? 24 a year, right?
Yeah.
That's not a lot. So we bang those out in the winter.
Yeah.
So now when we do an Ask a Guide, which I've got a couple coming up, but when we do an Ask a Guide now, those are coming out in 2024. So we're
Gotcha.
already into 2024. So we don't get a lot of those, but I have to put out a Patreon episode a week. So
Dang.
we're always doing Patreon episodes. Well, I mean, they pay, so I want to give them something. That's my job, is Patreon, right?
Yeah, you can do one of me going through my family tree.
Anyway, so what we're gonna do is, so if it's an Ask a Guide, you get to watch it live.
Okay.
Okay, First Lieutenants. And then we encourage you. In fact, I demand that you call in to the number, not now, but call in now if you'd like to talk to us today, 717-420-1978. I'll have it open when we record these shows.
Okay.
Now, it costs me money to do this, so don't make me waste it. I'll have the line open, and then when we get to the point where I'm reading the questions for the guide that other patrons at the other levels submit, and in writing, you actually get to call in and ask the guide directly. And what I'm hoping, Bethany, is that in doing so, a conversation with the guide and the listener ensues.
Ooh.
Yes. And one question leads to an answer, and that answer might lead to some questions. Now, when you send in a question and I read it off of the page, it's done, right? There's the answer. Now, maybe I'll ask a follow-up question on your behalf if it comes to my mind, but I don't have your mind.
Yeah.
So, I might be
Thank
hungry,
God.
and I just want to finish the show, So now, you on the phone, though, the guide can, hey, Charlie, what was the brigade that fought in McPherson's Woods for the Union? And he'd be like, that's the Iron Brigade. Now, if it was just something I read him off of the sheet, that's the answer. We move on. But now you're on the phone and you say, oh, so I'm new. Sorry.
Oh, so I'm new to all this. Were they actually made of iron?
And then Charlie and I laugh at you and all that other stuff. But anyway, it makes for a more entertaining show. I think it's gonna sound better for the people listening at home to hear your voices calling in, interacting with me, interacting with the guide, and I think everybody will get more out of it too. So that's that there. And then with if you can put the questions in the comments there, but I'm not going to read them because the whole point is for you to interact with the guide. I can't stress this enough. However, Patreon. I'm not going to have the phones open for the Patreon episodes. And those, if you put something in the comments section there, I will incorporate it into the show somehow. It might come off as if I'm thinking of the question, or I might say, oh, George has a good question here in the comments, and then read it. It depends.
What a great opportunity.
This is what I'm saying. It's a great opportunity.
Yeah.
For what?
To talk to a guide.
Oh my God, exactly.
For people who don't get to come here very often,
which is the vast majority of the world.
Yeah. And, want to talk to somebody like a licensed battlefield guide, this is a great opportunity.
I agree. And, a lot of the guides that are regulars that keep coming back, people become like fans of them. I love when so-and-so is on.
Yeah.
And, I love when such and such is on, and they look forward to it. And then when they see their name on Monday morning and they wake up and they see, new episode and it's Ask a Gettysburg Guide with Jesse Weedleton, they're like, oh, I love Jesse. And then they listen on the way in and they're all excited about it, right? So why not talk to them?
That would be great. Not everybody can just go, I'm going to talk to Ralph Siegel tomorrow.
And Ralph is a fun guy to talk to.
Oh my God.
Well, so's Charlie. I mean, they're all fun to talk to, but Ralph, that's an adventure sometimes.
We were supposed to have a 10-minute meeting an hour and a half later.
With Ralph?
Yeah. We were sitting out back at Rupp, and he goes, we have to hide back here in the courtyard because I'm going to smoke and I don't want the kids to see it.
Oh, now you just outed him.
I know. He's in trouble now.
Yeah, I know.
His wife knows.
Well, anyway, so that's it.
It was cute.
If you're a patron and you think you would like that, then you can always upgrade. Or if you're not a patron and you've been deciding, Or you've been feeling guilty. A lot of people say they feel guilty, and that's what makes them eventually become a patron.
We're fine with that.
Getting you to do
We're all about
Hey,
Catholic
man,
guilt
yeah,
here.
exactly. It's a Catholic thing of me.
I feel like Catholic guilt can't shake a stick to Pentecostal guilt, though.
I don't know what
I
Pentecostal
don't know.
guilt.
Why do you think I'm cleaning the studio?
Listen, I don't know if Pentecostal guilt, Southern Baptist, essentially.
Right.
Man, the guilt.
I have never heard of Pentecostal.
I haven't
guilt.
either. I wouldn't recognize that flavor of guilt.
Well, it's very strong. It wouldn't take you very much to recognize it. It'd
Really?
be like sniffing whiskey. You'd know immediately.
But what is it like? So I don't even.
I wouldn't even know. I wouldn't know the difference if you had whiskey.
Give me an example of Pentecostal guilt.
Yeah,
Quickly,
like I need a
quickly.
Well, you hear the stories about all the time about people growing up down there and not being able to listen or getting caught with like a Led Zeppelin album and being told that it's the devil's music.
Yes.
That is the Pentecostal.
Got it. All right. And then give me an example of Catholic guilt.
Yesterday I sent you a list of all the cleaning supplies I needed for here, and you said, Jesus. And I thought you were saying because I was going to make you spend a bunch of money, and I tried to downplay it by being like, you can go to dollar store and get all this for $20. And then you were like, okay. And I had just literally had a stroke because I thought you were mad at me about.
So Catholic guilt, then you would define
You're on the
it.
receiving end.
Yeah. So in other words, you feel guilty for imposing on someone else or
Yes.
something. And then two of my friends growing up, they were Jewish, and they talked about Jewish guilt, which was different. It was like, are you coming to the lake with us this weekend? She would say, the mother would say to the son, "No, I'm going to whatever with Tommy." Okay, guess it's the last weekend we're going to go to the lake with your mother, but I guess that's not going to happen now.
Yeah.
Just go up there alone and read one of my John Christian books, or whatever. and then it's like, fine, Mom.
See, that's like backhanded Pentecostal guilt. Right?
So they're very similar then.
They're
in that
similar,
way.
but instead of being like,
But it's the wrath of God that you're afraid of, whereas
Everything comes
the Jewish
back to the
guilt is the
wrath
wrath
of
of
God.
Mom. Yeah.
Catholic guilt is just wrath of your own conscience.
Did you just knock your mic cord out?
I think. Am I back?
You're back.
Yeah. Pentecostal guilt, everything relates back to God.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, it's very fascinating, all the different types of guilt that there are out there. But, well, what are you going to do? So I guess we're going to take a break. We haven't even. I have other things I want to tell people too, but we'll get there.
Sorry.
That's all right. No, we had a good time. Mark Maritato, a famous artist, is up next, and we're going to talk to him. So we'll be right back.
Been craving a Hot Pocket or a bag of popcorn? Now's the time to go and get it. You got 5 to 8 minutes, so don't be late. We'll be right back.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Boy to war has gone in the ranks of death. You will find him. His father's sword he hath girded on, and his wild harp slung behind.
Want the freshest cup of coffee in Gettysburg? Then visit Bantam Roasters, formerly 82 Cafe at 82 Steinway Avenue. They roast all of their coffee in-house, and they have a full coffee bar to keep you caffeinated during your trip. Visit them at www.raggededgerc.com for their menu and shipping options for all of their freshly roasted coffee. Use promo code Hancock for 10% off your order in the cafe.
Enjoy historical stories on the History Fix platform. Explore movies, short films, and documentaries. Addressing Gettysburg podcast fans receive an extra $5 off the first year's annual subscription. Sign up at historyfix.com and use promo code Gettysburg. Every subscription includes a 7-day risk-free trial. Escape into history with History Fix.
This episode of Addressing Gettysburg is brought to you in part by me, audiobook narrator Mike Scott. Narrator of Savis Beattie's Bloody Autumn, the Shenandoah Valley Campaign of 1864, and Unlike Anything That Ever Floated, the Monitor and Virginia and the Battle of Hampton Roads. If you are an author or publisher interested in having your titles produced as audiobooks, or even just in learning more about the process, give me a shout. You can find my contact info on my website, MikeScottVoice.com. That's MikeScottVoice.com.
The 1863 civilians of Gettysburg were reluctant witnesses to the Great Battle. Join Ken Rich, the man in the red shirt, for his historic town walking tours. You could book these tours by emailing ken@gettysburgtownhistory.com. That's ken@gettysburgtownhistory.com. And when you're in town, look for the guy in the red shirt. And Civil War Trails. It's the world's largest open-air museum, and they offer over 1,300 sites across 6 states. Drive the Gettysburg Campaign turn by turn, paddle to Frederick Douglass's birthplace, or hike to remote earthworks and artillery positions. Visit civilwartrails.org to request a brochure and explore their interactive map. Follow Civil War Trails and create some history of your own.
You're listening to the Addressing Gettysburg podcast with Matt Callery.
Bonfire. Kathy.
Seems like we haven't seen you in forever. Welcome back to Addressing Gettysburg Today. Here's Matt.
Avril his mint elegantly.
I hit that by accident. Sorry, Mark. I didn't mean to ruin your interview by throwing that in there. So everybody, we are here. Where am I? Hold on. That's what I'm looking for. We are here. Yeah, I was pulling down the wrong slider. We're here with Mark Maritato, famous artist, Civil War artist, history artist, historical artist. That's what I'm looking for. You, I would say that in relation to the show here, you did the cover for Mike Eisenhut's book, Brothers of War.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
That's exciting.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I did the illustration for the cover of the book.
Very cool.
Yeah, and I remember it's funny because that's how I first heard of you.
Oh.
I remember Mike came on and he was like, yeah, the cover is by Mark Maritato. Mark Maritato. And he's saying it like I should have known the name, and I'm like, okay. and then I looked you up, and I was like, oh, this guy does a lot of stuff, and it's pretty nice stuff. We have some slides that Colby can show when we get into talking here. But so let's talk about painting first, because I'm a painter. I'm always interested in talking to painters who are better than I am because I can learn from you.
Great.
And so you
always happy to teach.
Well, good, because I need to learn. So you do battle scenes or
Mostly
military
historical artwork,
right?
Mainly focusing on the American Civil War, but I've done other eras too. I actually just finished a commission for the Valley Forge National
cool.
Park. I did 16 illustrations for their revamped visitor center there. Ooh. And I also did the artwork for the Monmouth, New Jersey battlefield.
Do you know David Martin?
Yeah, I think so. I'm a little bad with names. If I haven't heard of
He's like a big deal down there in Monmouth. Yeah,
I think I have heard of him, but the gentleman who was actually the historian of the battlefield, whose name escapes me now.
David Martin.
No, it wasn't David Martin. It was the other guy. He's an much older gentleman. He actually helped me with a lot of the research for that project.
That would be so much fun, doing research for an artist.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, one of these days, if I can ever hire one, I'd be able to.
Yeah. Don't hire me. I would be no help to you, but I think it would be cool to watch.
Yeah.
It takes a long time. In order to do the artwork correctly.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of time to research. I mean, I'm researching paintings for years before I actually start. Actually putting them to canvas.
Yeah. How long? So when you're going to do a painting, right? How do you decide? Let's say you're not commissioned to do one. You just want to do one for your own edification or practice or whatever. How do you decide what you're going to do? What the subject's going to be?
Well, just like everybody else, I read about I read the history. I read books. I read firsthand accounts. I research. I'm a big Gettysburg Antietam and Civil War nut, and I know a lot about the first day's battles and the first day's fighting that occurred, and you just read, and then when something, when you come across something that hits you, that for me it's like, okay, well, this would make a great scene. For one example, I'm working right now on a painting of the 154th New York at the Brickyard. Started that painting 3 years ago, but I always knew about the story, and I thought it'd be a really, really cool painting. I know a big mural's been done of it, but nobody's actually done an actual painting of it. And I always thought to myself, man, what would that look like from this angle? So, I took some time and I researched it. I reached out to Mark Dunkelman, who helped me with some of the research on the brickyard and the brick kilns and what kind of buildings were there at the time and what the general lay of the land was and how the units were deployed. And also, you study the maps, you study firsthand accounts from the time, and basically what I do is I come up with an idea as a sketch, as a drawing. Usually I start out in my own sketchbook. I have a bunch of sketchbooks at home that I start my work in, and then eventually when I come across a composition or an idea that I like, then what I'll do is I'll work it up into a more finished drawing, and then I'll take that to I will actually put it on Photoshop, and I'll actually start drawing it out on Photoshop more detailed. And then once I bring it into Photoshop as a black and white drawing, I develop it more. And then once I'm satisfied with it, then I'll actually color it in Photoshop to make it look like what I have in my head is what the painting will finally look like. Once I do that, then I go to an actual finished painting. So I'll actually transfer it onto a canvas, and then I'll actually do the oil painting.
So that's a lot of steps before you even touch the paintbrushes.
Yeah, it'll take years sometimes.
And you do the black and white first, for values?
For values, for structure, to make sure you have the figures correctly drawn in.
It's just
make sure
easier to
everything
see.
looks right. Yeah, it just makes everything. It's kind of like if you're going to build a house, you have to lay out the plans for the house first, and then you build. You use that as the foundation to build the house. It's kind of like putting down a foundation, then you build on top of that.
And so do you use like models, like pose models, or do you just
sometimes I do. I used to do that a lot more than I do now. In the past, a lot of very well-known artists will do that. They'll actually take models and they'll dress them up and they'll photograph them, and that can be great. And I have no issues with that whatsoever. And I know a lot of artists 100 years ago, they actually used to pose models in costumes and everything, and that's totally fine. For me, I feel that sometimes if you do that too much, sometimes the final painting will come out a little too cookie cutter looking for me. And I'd like my paintings to kind of look more like the classic paintings from France, like Eduardo de Taille or Nouvelle, or even Carl Ruckling from America, or maybe even Winslow Homer. Those guys sketched from life. They did a lot of their paintings they used models too, but they also sketched from life, and they also did a lot of their paintings off of their drawings. So what I try to focus on is, whenever I try to compose a painting, what I try to do is I try to work it up as a drawing first to make sure it works as a drawing, and then develop it into a painting.
Yeah.
So I'm not relying on a digital camera to tell me, because what happens with a digital camera is when you take a picture, I mean, a lot of people know this, when you take a picture, sometimes your head looks a little bit too big, or sometimes your legs may look a little distorted or something. The digital cameras have a way of distorting the image where sometimes it might come out looking weird.
Yeah.
The other thing too is when you pick your models, you got to make sure you pick the right models. A lot of the things that I see happening, with more modern art is, a lot of soldiers are looking more like reenactors to me, like more modern reenactors. And when you look at a painting from the 19th century, though, there's a difference in how people looked back then.
Sure.
They're more gaunt, they're more thin, they're not as beefy as
we are
today.
Yeah.
So it's just that kind of thing. You just kind of, as an artist, I feel like I try to remain cognizant of whenever I try to develop a piece.
Yeah, sure.
Try not to make it look too too photorealistic.
Yeah. What's the largest painting you've ever done?
The largest piece I've ever done is the largest piece I ever done was one from Monmouth, which was George Washington at Perrines Hill.
Okay.
It's a 60 by 40. I did that years ago.
Do you like doing a bigger painting or?
Yeah. For the
I would love to do one that big. I've never done one that big.
It's cool. It really is cool because you could really get in when the paintings are bigger. You can actually get into the details. And as I'm getting older, my eyesight's kind of like getting a little bit harder. So
you got to get a bigger painting.
Yeah, it's actually better to kind of get in and get When you're working on a small soldier like this, you have to kind of like really noodle and get the
I've always wanted to have somebody say, "Hey, will you paint a mural on my bedroom wall or living room wall or whatever, or just get like the biggest canvas I can find and just get lost in it,
right,
and create a whole
different
I used to, world."
When I was in high school, I painted some murals and they were a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I guess maybe that would be the biggest painting I've ever done. But as far as historical paintings, The one that I did of Washington at Perrines Hill and for the Monmouth battlefield. I guess that would be the biggest piece I've ever done.
Is the Marquis de Lafayette in that picture?
No, it's just Washington and his staff, and as I remember correctly, it's just his staff, and there's a cannonball coming in that blew up actually right next, or came in and plowed the ground right next to him while he was actually standing there just watching over his troops. And then there's a second piece that I did that's part of that, with just his troops kind of just laying on the hill, kind of like laying low as they're waiting to go in. Excuse me. The other project that I did, which was for Valley Forge, there was actually a 60 by 30 inch, couple of 60 by 30 inch paintings that I did for that, and those were really, really cool to do. I did a 60 inch by 20 inch painting of von Steuben training the troops, and it's a long piece. You can actually go to my website and see it now. It's just it's a really cool long piece. When you see it in person, whenever you see these paintings in person, they're actually a lot better than if you look at them on screen.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, they're much more impressive.
Photographs of paintings are not good representations of paintings.
Yeah, no matter how hard you try, you can't capture.
No, what you have to do is like you got to manipulate the image of the photograph, and then that misrepresents the painting.
Excuse me, sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. Go ahead.
I have two questions.
Sure.
Two. So first one, do you do this at home or do you have a studio like off-site?
I am lucky enough to have a studio at home.
That's
That's my whole downstairs part of my house is all my studio, my office.
Oh my gosh, never tell my husband that. Okay.
It definitely helps because I could go downstairs and just do what I want. I don't have to bother my wife. My daughter my daughter's upstairs dancing around and stuff. So I just I just.
And are you listen to music guy, or do you like watch a movie while you paint?
Usually, I listen to Addressing Gettysburg. I listen to podcasts.
Very smart.
No, I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to a lot of. I do listen to music. I believe it or not, I have not. I've been planning to set up a TV down in there so I could just have it on while I'm working. But actually, usually I just have my phone.
Yeah,
yeah.
What do you need TVs for?
Yeah.
Especially if you're not going to watch it. Just get your phone and a Bluetooth speaker. So it
that's
sounds
basically
good.
what I do.
That's what I do.
Do that and watch the show, and it's great listening to the shows because you guys I could just put you on and listen and work. And I don't have to worry about
watching it
commercials or anything like that. Well, I mean,
you do have to worry about commercials.
No, what I mean, you know how YouTube always pops up the.
Yeah.
They do it a little bit less on the longer shows than they do on
Yeah.
Well, I try to for our shows on YouTube. If you listen on YouTube and you're not a YouTube, what do they call it, premium member? I put them in the beginning and the end. I don't make them interrupt because.
Yeah.
Certain ones I do, but not those. Go ahead.
And I would appreciate if you don't watch this one, so then I don't have to look. You don't have to see me.
Oh man, I'm more worried about myself than with anything else.
Yeah,
you don't have to worry. I feel the same. Don't worry.
You guys are both beautiful.
You were talking about Catholic guilt before, and I have the same thing going on. So because I'm Catholic too. So.
Right.
With a name like Maritato, I can't believe you're Catholic.
Yeah.
It actually means married in Italian.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. Mark Married would be my.
Mark Married.
Would be
That's
my
cute.
Italian name, I guess. Yeah.
Yingling means lots of beer.
Yeah. By the way, of all the beers, I don't drink beer, but when I do drink beer, I love Yingling.
See?
I
wish I got money from that, but I don't.
You wish that your name was spelled the right way.
Believe
that
me, it was
you
the
could
first
get that
question
money.
I asked
I
him.
know, you told me.
Yeah.
Well, I got one if you're losing. Okay, go ahead.
No, I had a second question.
Oh, God.
So you've gotten commissions from some pretty prestigious places. So
Yes.
is this become old hat for you, or have when Valley Forge said we'd like you to do this, did you have a little inside,
A little heart attack?
happy dance?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I was really excited to get that, and I was really honored actually because they actually, from what I understand, they actually went to a couple of artists that are more well known than I am, and they actually, from what I understand, they actually didn't get it, and I was the one that actually ended up getting it. Which
wow.
Or I think one of them refused, and one of them ended up not getting it. But I'm very grateful that now I have that feather.
Do you know who those
in my cap.
people are?
I do, but I'm not going to say.
No.
Well, no. I don't want you to say. But do you have you seen them since then and been like, oh, you mean that Valley Forge commission that I got?
No, I don't talk to them. No, it's not like that. I mean, I don't really talk
want
to these
some,
guys.
like seedy underbelly of the art world.
It's not that seedy.
Mark's too nice to do that. He's not going to do that.
I
Mark,
actually one interesting story is I actually went to school to the same art school as Dan Nance. I don't know if you know who Dan Nance is.
No.
He's another historical.
Okay.
He does historical Civil War art, and him and I actually went to Pratt Institute together at the same time.
Oh, cool.
And he was the one that actually kind of let me know that this. I kind of didn't. I knew about historical art, but I didn't kind of. I was kind of doing it on my own, but I didn't know you could kind of. There were
Make a
actually other
career out
artists
of it?
doing it. And he was the one that kind of turned me on to like, hey, this is actually a field that people are doing.
Yeah, now, how long has this been your career?
So that hasn't been my full career. I do work a full-time job, but this is
Oh
like
my gosh.
this is like my second job. I've been trying to build this for 30. I've been doing this for 30 years.
Yeah.
So
I think.
Way to make me feel even worse about myself.
Well,
Thanks,
actually,
Mark.
we got a caller, Brian, on the line, and he has a question about finding success as an artist. So, Brian, you're on the air.
Oh, cool.
Why am I not hearing him? Hold on.
It's just a really low volume.
Is he really? Brian, are you there? Hello, Brian.
Like I can hear him, but
I don't hear him at all.
I'm not hearing him.
Hold on. What the? I'm hearing him.
What the?
But I'm not hearing him in my headphones.
Yeah, I don't know where I'm hearing. I'm hearing
hearing
in the
him over
headphones.
there.
I think he's just really faint.
Oh, hold on a second. Hold on, Brian. I know what's going on. I know what's happening. Wait, Brian. Hold on.
It's on his phone.
It's on my phone. Oh, no. Oh, Jesus. Wait a second. Hold on. I didn't connect it to the board. Here we go. It should be connecting any second now.
Brian
there
had
we
a
go,
great
Brian.
question.
Brian, go
We don't
ahead.
never know.
Now you can go, Brian.
Oh, what's up? I just wanted to find out, like, what brings him the most inspiration. Does he go out in the morning, and when no one's out around? I just wanted to kind of get an idea what inspires.
Are you a painter, Brian?
Of course I am.
All right.
Yeah, I listen. When I'm on the YouTube and all, I am what they call hey and Senate. But then when I am on Patreon, I am the feel goods. I don't know how else to put it. I'm sorry. I'm kind of like
I
a
don't
weird.
know.
That's all right. That's okay. A swing and a miss, Brian. A swing and a miss.
Brian, we think you're awesome regardless.
Yeah. All right. So, no, so do you paint or do you not paint?
I do with my fingers. Yes.
Okay, you finger paints. All right.
Yeah.
How did you get successful with this where people were paying you
To do historical
to
art.
do historical art? Yeah.
Well, starting from the very beginning, I was the first Civil War artist to have a website back in the late 90s.
Isn't that hilarious?
Yeah. And then it started to become a thing afterwards.
I love that.
I actually learned how to build my own website. So, because back then, they had the Civil War print market where you did a painting and then you would offer it as a signed and numbered limited edition print of, say, 1,000 prints. And back then you couldn't, in order to do that, you had to spend thousands of dollars to get the prints done.
Right.
So you'd have to buy, 1,000 prints, spend a few $1,000s, which back then I didn't have.
Right.
Because I was living on my own. I was trying to work and, trying to basically keep my head above water. So what I would do is I actually bought my own printer that does really, really good prints. And then what I ended up doing is selling my prints on my website. And then I discovered eBay, and then I actually started putting my prints up on eBay, and that's when I started getting people to start buying my limited edition prints. And then they would go to my website and they would find me there, and they would either commission me for work or they would buy my originals that I had available at the time.
Right.
So, as far as inspiration goes, it depends on, basically the inspiration for the historical art is basically reading the accounts, reading, and it basically just spurs something in your imagination of, okay, what did this scene look like?
Right.
Or would it be cool to do, what would the defense of the 137th New York at Culp's Hill look like? And you start delving into that, and, then it just basically snowballs from there. I also have done some landscape pieces as well, which I really love doing. I just don't get as much time to do them. I would like to do more of them, but basically with that is I go outside and I just look at look at what's going on there.
Sure.
It's
Just use your
nature
eyes.
is just beautiful.
It is.
Even if you're just walking out down the street, there's so much.
Now, you say you've been doing this for 30 years. I started back in 2006, but I know that once I started, feeling like I was getting decent at it, I really started to pay attention and appreciate nature a lot more. The sun, the sky, the clouds, mountains, tree lines, the whole nine yards.
You start looking at everything around you as patches of paint.
Yes.
It's kind of weird.
Yes.
I know it's kind of weird.
Yeah, that's exactly
yeah.
right. Because somebody told me once, they said, if you're painting a tree, don't paint a tree. Paint what you see. And I was like, I see a tree. And he's like, no, that's not what you see. He goes, when I look at that tree, I see blotches of a light green here, a darker green there. And then he goes, that trunk isn't brown.
Right.
But everybody's going to take brown and make a trunk.
Most trees are gray.
They're gray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or different shades of gray.
Right. So it does make you think of things differently, and you take things in a different way. And you're right. You see things as splotches of color and not and shapes, but not what they're supposed to be. Brian, anything else you want to ask?
No, this is fabulous. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
You have a good day, Brian.
I love you. Bye-bye.
Love you too.
Jeez. Why is it only men call in and say things like that? Okay, we got another call
Cindy,
here.
he didn't mean that.
No, I'm just, Cindy knows that.
I actually get to talk to
Yeah,
people.
you got
This is
people.
awesome.
All right, 808. I don't have a name here. The screening failed. So what do you got there, 808?
Hello, Matt. It's Ollie.
Oh, hey, Ollie. How you doing? Oh, you calling to talk about Hawaii?
Aloha, Matt.
Aloha to you, my friend.
Yes, I am finally here. I'm finally here to do so.
Do you mind holding?
How are you doing today, my good sir?
Well, I am doing well, Ollie. I'm doing well. Do you mind? Can I put you on hold until the next segment? I didn't know this was you. Do you mind holding?
You can, but before, I just wanted to say, Mark, beautiful painting.
Thank
There's
you.
a great guy in Hawaii named Herb Kane. Check out his paintings. They're very much like the historical paintings you do too as well.
Great.
Yeah, no worries, Matt. Just let me know when for the next segment. Yeah.
All right, I'm putting you back in the queue. You can listen to the show from there. Just hang on a sec, okay?
Cool.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, no worries, Matt.
Thank you very much, Ollie. All right, so do you have a favorite subject that you like to paint? Like you just love?
I'm a big uniform and flags nut.
Okay.
And I'm also very big on painting zouaves, New York State militia
So
units.
colorful
just
uniforms.
basically, I'm very interested in
Gets you out of the
material.
blue and the gray.
Yeah, I'm very interested in
That's a good point.
the material culture of the mid 19th century.
Sure.
And also the Revolutionary War period too, but I'm not as well knowledgeable on that period as much as I am with the Civil War and the mid 19th century up until the Civil War, and I've even done some World War II stuff too.
I was going to say, have you done more modern stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, I've been asked to. I'm just not, I just haven't studied it as much. There's a lot to go on, but I have done some World War II, and I'm planning to do more. It's just getting.
Yeah.
Have you gotten to the point where most of your work is all commissioned now, or are you at the point where you're like, I want to do this because I want to?
Well, thankfully, I'm able to kind of pick and choose what I'm able to do. I mean, the commissions are great when they do come in, and they do help actually a lot. So yeah, I mean, if a commission does come in, I will stop and do that because you gotta, those are important, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, right now I'm actually at the point where I could be like, all right, I'm going to do a series of uniform studies, which I actually started doing recently, where I'm going to be doing paintings of just soldiers of the Civil War, just in their uniforms, and just do studies of, I just did Elmer Ellsworth as he appeared on the day of his death with his gray uniform and his short hair. A lot of people don't know this, but Ellsworth actually cut his hair before they left New York City, and his hair was short when he was killed.
Oh wow!
So a lot of pictures you see of Ellsworth,
research things.
Yeah, a lot of pictures you see of Ellsworth, you see him with long hair.
Yeah.
But just before he had left New York City with the fire zouaves, they had all shaved their head as a part of the zouave style of the time. So my depiction of him is with the shorter hair.
With the short hair.
So yeah, anything having to do with any kind of regimental uniforms, flags. I'm big into flags. Basically anything Civil War, anything. I'm very, very much into the Civil War. It's kind of like I wish I had more time to paint it, but if I could be doing it every day, I'd be doing it every day.
Do you do any Indian War stuff?
I haven't yet. That's another era that I've been wanting to do, but it's just haven't gotten to yet.
Yeah.
So you said when you got here, you said you have something that you wanted to give us, but to wait until the show. So, what is it?
Well, I brought you some prints for the office.
Oh.
So there are 3 signed and numbered limited edition prints.
Really?
Yeah. So 2 of them are paper prints and one's a canvas print. A canvas giclée.
A canvas what?
Giclée.
Sounds like a donut.
It's basically a fancy name for an inkjet print on a canvas.
So like print on. Oh yeah. Okay, I've seen that.
They're supposed to look, they're supposed to be printed to look kind of like an original painting.
Yeah.
But they're basically a canvas, high quality canvas print.
Do you?
That's so nice of you,
so you said you put them out in the hallway.
Yeah.
You want to get them?
Sure.
Okay. Sure. Take that off, and I'll put this microphone. I'll swing it around so we can hear you. All right. I'll turn that up there. All right. So he's going out to get these things here. If you want to go, you can go to camera 3 there, Colby, because I think he's gonna. I'll turn camera 3 around there. All right. There we go. Okay. We got. Just hold it right there.
So
all right. What is this? Look at this.
This is a.
Tell him to bring it a little closer and don't tilt it. Like just hold it up higher.
Don't hold it. But hold it more. Yeah, you're gonna get that glare off. Well,
cool.
There we go.
Okay. So this is the Boy Major. This is Latimer at Benner's Hill.
Benner's Hill.
Commanding the artillery battery there and getting pounded by the Union artillery. It's a
His battalion's getting pounded.
Right. Yes. This is a commission actually by Harley Davidson here in Gettysburg.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they have the original.
Well,
that's pretty cool.
I wish you guys could see the detail at the bottom here.
Yeah. Well, when you
That's
come into
insane.
the studio, we'll let you see it.
Yeah. This is
that's
all.
awesome.
This is a wheat field at the time.
Right. Yeah, I love that. That's nice.
Yeah.
See, that's what I was telling you before. When I paint, I lose interest by the time I get to the foreground.
Yeah.
So I never really mastered doing grass or wheat or anything like that.
Well, what you need to do is just go in and just use a small brush and.
Yeah. All right. So there you can.
So there's
Beautiful, Mark.
Right there.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's really
Can
nice.
I claim like half ownership?
Sure.
Okay.
Is this? Let me see.
You can borrow it
Oh,
every
wow.
once in a while.
Okay.
All right. Now, what's this one here?
So this is Iron Brigade forward,
Brigade.
the 2nd Wisconsin going into the woods with Reynolds.
You might want to like angle it down
There you
towards
go.
the floor.
There you go.
Yeah. Well,
That's best,
as good as we're gonna
probably.
get.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So maybe.
Or you can move it closer to the camera.
The black hats,
And
man.
then angle. You just want to angle away from the light there. Yeah. All right.
you
That's
go.
close.
You can
just
see
hold
this
it-
on my website. If you go to my website,
Yeah.
you'll see but this is
that
Reynolds
Love this
leading
one.
General Reynolds leading the 2nd Wisconsin into the woods.
Yeah.
Just before he's killed.
And so well framed.
Yes.
you.
The frame is beautiful.
Thank you. I did the framing myself.
That's very
Good
nice.
job, Mark.
All right. Oh, there's one more.
Oh,
out
and
there.
did you have certificates with those, Mark?
Yeah, they do. They do have certificates. They're in the back of this one here.
Ooh, that's
So this
official.
Is the Pierce de, this is the final one.
Oh,
de resistance.
look at that. There's our boy.
This is-
Yeah.
This is the Wolverines. This is a canvas giclée framed, and this
It's
is the
so
same size
cool.
as the original painting.
So this is a print printed on canvas. Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
Gotcha.
the effect. It's supposed to give the effect of an original
Of a painting. Yeah.
So if
And
you
it
can't,
does.
It does.
Indeed.
Does it
Give
smell
that-
like an original painting?
I don't
So
know.
if you
let me
can't
smell
afford
it.
an original painting, you can get one of these.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
There is a slight ink scent to
Okay.
it.
No, I love it, Mark. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I figure you guys need
This
some.
is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell you what, I'm taking that one home.
I thought we were sharing.
Yeah, we can share the other ones.
It's framed on a wood frame and framed.
Oh yeah, okay. And then we go. Oh, okay, there's the envelope there
Yeah,
with the.
this has all
certification.
the certificates in there.
Awesome. That is so cool. Thank you so much.
Aw, that's so sweet. Not one, but 3.
I know. My cup runneth over.
So you have a Custer because I know you like Custer.
Love
and then you have
Custer.
One Union and one Confederate.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That's really cool.
All right.
Good
well,
job, Mark.
Thank you.
I just looking at the Custer one. Every single one of those boys there have a different face, like a drastically different
Yeah.
face.
Yeah.
And to me, that's like the first thing I always look for on paintings where there's a lot of guys standing there.
To see
a
that
lot of
they're
people,
individuals.
To see that they are
Yeah.
individual humans. And sometimes you don't see that.
Sometimes on the older Napoleonic military paintings, you'll see some of the figures actually look like the same guy because they had one
Yeah.
guy posing.
Yeah.
different poses for the same or for different guys. One guy posing for different poses for different guys is what I'm trying to say.
But the least you could do is put a different face on them for people.
Yeah, it's kind of it's weird. Like you wonder why. Why people didn't do that, but I guess it's just sometimes when you're copying. But again, if you're copying a photo, you tend to copy the photo. If you're working from something that you drew, one of my favorite artists named Tom Lovell, he did that. He would actually do a charcoal sketch of a figure.
Yeah,
his artwork is amazing. He's deceased now, but if you look at his work, it's just he did a lot of Western and Native American work.
Okay,
and it's just amazing. But a lot of his process, yes, he would pose some models, but he didn't always rely on that. He would actually do a charcoal sketch, a really detailed sketch, and then work from the detailed sketch.
Yeah.
And when you work from I think we were talking about before the show, part of being able to draw a good human figure is being able to paint a good human figure is you need to be able to learn how to draw a good human, draw the figure. And that just takes practice. That just takes getting a sketchbook, going out and just sketching from life, or even taking drawing classes where you're drawing from the nude live model. It helps a lot. I did a lot of that when I was in school.
Draw me like one of your French girls.
Yeah,
I was thinking the same thing.
I knew it.
It's a little bit more
same thing.
involved than.
I was waiting.
But basically,
I looked at you because I knew it was going to happen.
But basically, that's the same concept as you draw from life.
Sure.
You draw what you see in front of you.
And what I thought you said was interesting was that when you were in school, they took you to the medical school and you drew cadavers that had their skin removed. So you were actually drawing the musculature of the body. And I was like, well, what do you do that for? Is that so that if you know what's going on underneath, it's easier to do?
Yeah, so you understand how the human body is constructed.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. When you see a human body without flesh on it, when you see the musculature of just how the muscles kind of interplay with each other and how they work, like I never understood that. The muscles that control your hand are actually up here.
Right.
Okay. And then you have tendons that go down through your arm, and then you have like a little strip of tendons that hold it all together. You wouldn't know that unless you actually looked at it. You can't really learn that from a book.
No.
The way the legs are the human legs are just like a masterpiece when you see them, when you see the musculature with how the muscles and the tendons and everything kind of like interlace with each other. It's really, really amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's a marvel of engineering, the human body.
True story.
And we abuse it.
Yep, 100%. You know what I like best about you, Mark?
Thanks.
You talk.
Saying thank you before you told.
You talk to me like you think I've done something artistic before.
Oh.
I appreciate that. Because not everybody, a lot of artists, they just assume that, when I did this, but you are very humble and very
Well, I
think it would be nice. You would be a good teacher.
You know, it's funny. I actually went when I went to art school. I actually got a degree in teaching, and I was actually going to go into art teaching, but I decided against it back then because I kind of got disillusioned with the whole.
Teaching,
the whole
other people's kids.
Not other people's kids. The kids are great. It was just the school system at the time. I was going to college in New York City, and dealing with that whole bureaucracy was just ripped my heart out.
From so many
100
good teachers, true teachers, the same complaint.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter what state it's in, what district it's in. It's just the whole system seems to be going to hell.
I'll just give you a quick example. When I was doing my student teaching at this school in Brooklyn, so there was two art teachers in this school. One of the art teachers, he was really great. He would have all this inspiration up in his classroom, and he'd be really into teaching the kids. And I used to love teaching with him because he was always into teaching art and making sure the kids knew. But the other teacher that I was also with was the complete opposite. You go into this class, there's nothing up on the walls. It's all wood. The lady was literally there just for a paycheck. And
Rude.
It was just it was so terrible to have to endure seeing this, because she obviously didn't care about these kids.
Yeah.
She obviously didn't care about teaching these kids anything about art. And, even to get a pencil to get these kids number 2 pencils to draw with, and they're drawing on computer paper. whereas the other teacher had like, charcoal and it was just a world of difference. And, I don't know, it just kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. So I decided, I don't know if teaching was really the right thing for me as far as teaching in a school system like that. So
I can understand that.
Do you teach? I'm sure you at least try. I don't know how much your daughter is into art.
Oh, my daughter's she's 11 years old, and she's already drawing like characters that she wants to do animations of, and I just have to get her into history. She's just not into history, which is
someday. Has
They're
she been
watching
here?
now, so
Has she come to Gettysburg?
We actually came here about 2 weeks ago when we were going to South Carolina, and we just kind of did a really quick tour.
Okay.
But she was kind of like, okay, yeah, this is cool, Dad. So it was like one of those things.
Well, once she finds the one thing that does interest her about it, that's
I did get her into David Kincaid's Civil War music, so that was a win.
Okay, there you go.
I was
That's
really
a start.
happy about that.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere. Absolutely.
I happen to know this place that has a children's museum.
There you go.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's right.
You could do. You could
Just
go
saying.
Next time we come down to Gettysburg and I bring her, but by then time she'll probably
because
be.
then I can.
She's already going into 6th grade now, so it's like how much of
You better hurry up. She's not
I
got to
get her down here.
Yeah, exactly.
She has actually starting 6th grade today, so.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
All right.
Good
well,
luck to her.
So we have to take our next break and come back with the news and everything, which of course you're welcome to sit in with us on that one, Mark.
Sure.
And you guys sitting at home, we'll be right back.
Glad you used Dial? We are too. We'll be right back.
Seminary Ridge Museum and Education Center, Gettysburg's premier museum, is housed in the historic Lutheran Seminary building constructed in 1832, a witness to the first day of battle. The museum's 3 floors of exhibits connect visitors to the dilemmas that led to the Civil War, provide a powerful and personal view of the battle's first day, and explore one of the battlefield's largest hospitals. No visit to Seminary Ridge Museum and Education Center is complete without a guided tour of the building's famous cupola, where on the eve of battle, officers and civilians saw thousands of Confederate soldiers' campfires burning to the west, and Brigadier General John Buford watched for vital federal reinforcements as fighting erupted on the morning of July 1st. Today, you can stand where Buford stood and discover how this view helped chart the course of the Battle of Gettysburg. Your trip to Gettysburg is not complete without a serious visit to Seminary Ridge Museum and Education Center, Gettysburg's premier museum. Purchase tickets online at seminaryridgemuseum.org or call 717-339-1300. To get tickets or a cupola tour, listeners may call or walk in and mention address in Gettysburg, or by ordering online using the promo code AG1863 for 20% off. Seminary Ridge Museum and Education Center. It began here.
There's a devil to pay.
If you're a lover of history, then go to trhistorical.com. There you'll find apparel, drinkware, decor, and more featuring a wide range of interests from the ancient world to the Cold War. Looking to make an impression with the perfect gift? Well, TR Historical now offers gift cards and a vintage wrapping service for a truly unique presentation. And our listeners will receive 10% off plus free shipping in the U.S. when you use promo code GBERG1863. So go to trhistorical.com, TR Historical, for the love of history.
Think outside the bus and let family-owned Gettysburg Tours take you on a cycling journey across the picturesque and historic Gettysburg battlefield. There's no better way than by bicycle to gain a feel for the terrain of the battlefield. Slow enough to see it all, yet fast enough to do it all. Follow the route of Union troops entering the fray as you ride to the site of the first shots of this epic 3-day battle. Feel the drama as you put yourself in the position of a Confederate soldier just before he steps off to make Pickett's charge. Take a stand with the heroic Colonel Chamberlain on the slopes of Little Round Top just before you view the fields of honor beneath you from its summit. All of our guides are officially licensed by the National Park Service. So don't get a sore neck trying to see out of your car and saddle up with Gettysburg Tours for a 360-degree view of America's most important piece of real estate. Gettysburg Tours. Think outside the bus. Go to gettysburg.com or call 717-752-7752 to book a battlefield experience you will never forget.
You've heard us promote various ways that you can help us keep the show going, but one way we haven't pushed too much is our sutlery at addressinggettysburg.com/shop. That's a shame because we have designs over there by talented artists like Ty DeWitt of 1863 Designs and Mike Stretch of the Heritage Depot. So now we're promoting it. Buying shirts, hoodies, mugs, and other items from our sutlery not only helps us keep the lights on, but it also helps guys like Ty and Mike, and it helps spread the word about the show every time you wear an item or you sip from your mug. So head over to addressinggettysburg.com/shop and grab some merch. It's the perfect Christmas gift for the Gettys nerd in your family. That's addressinggettysburg.com/shop.
Have you noticed our revamped website at addressinggettysburg.com? Well, that's the fine work of a man named Mike Stretch, and he also redid our logo for us. Both of them I originally designed, and both of them were originally horrible, but now they're nice, and that's all thanks to Mike. Mike has an awesome t-shirt company called Heritage Depot. There you'll find great designs based on Gettysburg and the Civil War with t-shirts and other types of merchandise. So go to heritage-depot.com and spruce up your Gettys Nerd wardrobe. That's heritage-depot.com. Our favorite bookstore in Gettysburg is For the Historian, located at 42 York Street. It's because they have the best selection of Civil War books in Gettysburg, both new and used, and online they have even more to choose from. And if the Civil War isn't your thing, that's not a problem. This is For the Historian, after all. They cover history from the ancient world to the 21st century with a strong selection of World War II and American Revolution books. It's astounding how many thousands of titles from Osprey, Savas Beatty, UNC Press, and more they have in their store. And that's because, well, they have a warehouse too. And that's where they keep all the books that are available online at forthehistorian.com. And folks, if you go to forthehistorian.com now and order books until you're blue in the face, be sure you mention that you heard about them on Addressing Gettysburg in the Note to Seller box, and they will refund your shipping costs. And if you prefer to stop by when you're in town, well, you could do that too. Just mention Addressing Gettysburg at checkout, and they'll take 20% off the retail price of your item. So go to forthehistorian.com, or stop by 42 York Street, or you can call them at 717-685-5207. That's forthehistorian.com or 717-685-5207.
You're listening to Addressing Gettysburg.
You can forget the sounds of the 60s.
The 1860s. I can't, and you can't either. Now, there's Marching Through Georgia, the exciting new album by Billy Webster. All of your favorite hits of the 1860s in one place. Such hits as Gary Owens, the Battle Hymn of the Republic, All Quiet Along the Potomac Tonight, Marching Through Georgia, and much, much more. So what are you waiting for? Go to billysongs.com and order your digital download of Billy Webster's Marching Through Georgia today. That's billysongs.com.
Okay, we're back now, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. I didn't have any music to play because whatever, you guys have been waiting long and hard for us here, so we don't want. Do you wait hard? That's it. That is what she said. I don't know. We're back. Okay, so let me just catch up with a couple of things here. So I talked about First Lieutenant there. A listener suggested that we add a segment of the show every once in a while where if a listener suggests a video, we sit around and do a reaction video to it, like as a segment of the show. What do you think of that?
Like history things, or
well,
just
that's
any
what
video?
we'd have to do. We'd have to limit what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it can't just be random videos.
Yeah, I think no, and I don't want it to be anything political or anything like that. It would have to be something like the John Dacre video that we played a few weeks ago. Were you here for that?
That was hysterical.
Right.
Dude. She was here for that. I'm almost positive. The one where the guy was.
That might have been
singing
Veronica.
karaoke.
I think Veronica was here.
Yeah, that wasn't me.
Where he was like, Christ the Lord is risen today.
And he didn't know half the words.
Yeah.
Actually, he didn't know 3/4 of the words.
He didn't know anything.
He was having a rough night.
Is this where the karaoke idea came from? Then?
No. This is a different person. No, they were just saying that they like to watch reaction videos, and he had sent me a reaction video of a guy. I forget the person's name that he was watching, but it's one of these like self-help gurus, and it's this big like overproduced thing, and it looks like kind of like a TED talk, but there's an orchestra and there's a fog machine, and he comes out and he's all coiffed and everything, and then he's given this an inspirational speech, and even I was like listening to it, and I'm like, and the guy who's doing the reaction video, he pauses it, and he's an audio engineer, and he goes, there's something fishy about this guy's audio because it sounds like he's on a condenser microphone talking really low like this. Yet you don't see any microphone on him, and he goes, it's almost like he's lip syncing this whole speech. And then later on, you find out that everybody in the audience, the orchestra, and obviously the people that come out, because at one point this woman comes out and starts doing this dance, and she's in a wedding dress, and he's singing and everything, and it's like, what the hell is this? And it turns out like somebody who was hired as an actor to be in the audience did a video saying, yeah, this guy's full of shit, like he's phony. He was lip syncing to his speech, and everybody in the audience was a paid actor. Everybody in the orchestra was a paid actor. They weren't even paid musicians. They were paid actors. They didn't even know what the hell they were doing when they were playing the timpani or whatever. And then the woman doing the dancing was his wife. And
oh my gosh.
And so, but it was hilarious though to watch it.
I'm
so
sure.
Maybe it was something like that. Somebody was like, well, maybe you could do like reaction to history videos. No. Chris Maui does that on Vlogging Through History. He does a pretty good job with that. And he's also a historian. Like JD is a historian. They're historians. We're not historians here. We talk to historians. So on AG Today, I don't think it would really do anything.
Yeah, we could make fun of their voices or what they're wearing.
One thing we could do, Matt.
What?
Now I don't know if this would work for a live thing on the show, but this is something you and I could do pre-recorded and put out on YouTube and stuff for people to see. But we could do reactions to war movies.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, actually.
Well, and the angle could be, you could be
asking you what it's like.
Well, you could be the average guy in it,
Yeah.
like the guy that hasn't been to combat but is
Right.
a history enthusiast.
I would love to do that, Colby. Let's do that.
And then I could be the combat veteran, and we could we could talk about what's real.
Let's do that.
Mark
Let's do that
noticed
from
that
your
I'm not in
studio.
this.
Yeah, we'll use the couch.
You can invite me down to talk about the uniforms.
There
of
you
the
go.
Civil War movie.
All
What's
right.
my angle? I
By
have
the-
no angle for this.
No, like
The female perspective.
Yeah. Like, ew, that's so gross.
Oh my God.
By the way, I'm just going to put this out there right
Jeez,
now.
guys.
Best Civil War movie out there ever. Glory.
It's a great
yeah.
movie. I'll tell
Yeah.
you what the most realistic looking fight. There's two. The most realistic looking fights in a Civil War movie is what's the love story one with the crater?
Oh, yeah.
Cold Mountain. That's one of them.
Yeah, that's a good
the
movie.
crater scene, dude. When they're chucking the bayoneted rifles down there like that
like
crap.
spears,
Well,
yeah.
you know who got them to do that was they had Brian C. Pohanka and Don Triani were the advisors for that movie. And Don Triani, he's another
Artist.
Yeah.
big mega Civil War artist that I really admire. They hired him as a consultant for the movie, and he was the one who did the uniform consulting and the flag. That's why the flags look so good in that movie, is because he was the one who was him and Brian Pahank, and I think Brian Krause were consultants on that movie on the uniforms. So the uniforms, the flags, and what they show in the crater is pretty much dead on.
Well, dude, when
again.
when the crater initially blows up and it blows the clothes off that guy's body,
Oh, yeah.
that's so freaking real, dude.
Yeah.
And I've heard someone comment that that's not real. I've seen people get blown up. That is 100% real.
I saw a video the other day, accidentally. I don't seek these things out because they bother me, but I was scrolling through Reels on Instagram, and so I guess it was one of those, what was it called? The channel was 1,000 Ways to Die.
Yep.
No, Jesus.
And it had a video.
That came after Faces of Death. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do. And a lot of that was fake. But 1,000 Ways to Die, and it was a video of someone getting hit by a train.
Oof.
Yikes, dude.
And the person goes flying in the air, and their shoes go a different way.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you ever see where someone got hit by a car if you're there
There'd be a
afterwards?
shoe in the tree. Yeah, dude.
Well, or they're like two shoes in the. I remember one time when growing up in high school, we went past an accident, right? Like a death scene, really. And it was all blocked off with the cones and everything. And we went around, and as we're going past, we're looking to see what happened, and I just see two shoes. Just perfectly sitting there in the middle of the road as if, someone had been vaporized out of them. And then there was a sheet a few yards away where the body was. And I was like, what were they doing? Taking off their shoes? I didn't understand at the time that you get knocked out of your shoes.
Yeah.
Which is so weird.
Well, you get hit with so much force.
Yeah.
It's just everything goes.
Crazy.
Now, the other most realistic looking battle scene in a Civil War movie that I've ever seen is the opening 5 minutes to Lincoln.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
more so
that's
because of, dude, when that guy is stomping the one dude's face down in the mud,
Yeah.
and you got like 6 guys bayoneting one dude, that 2 dudes are like that crap, that's.
Although I have to say, they show hand-to-hand fighting way too much in Civil War movies because there wasn't as much hand-to-hand fighting. It wasn't like that.
I know that's the line. And when you're talking about when you're talking about a division versus division show off, there's almost no hand-to-hand fighting where both major forces are doing that. But it's surprising how many battles will have instances of hand-to-hand fighting.
Oh, sure.
You've got Manassas.
Yeah.
First and second Manassas.
Right.
You've got Antietam. Does it happen here?
Yeah.
In little cases.
Yeah.
So it happens. It definitely happens. But I agree with you. People show it a lot. Like it's this.
It's a little too over. To me, it's a little overshown.
Almost like they're a Napoleonic army. And
One of the things
they're trying to do a charge at the end.
Did you say Abe Lincoln?
One of the things. Well, first for me, the one battle scene that I think is absolutely the best battle scene ever is the beginning of Glory, the Antietam scene.
Yeah.
Nothing beats that.
Yeah.
That is one of the most accurate. That all
the
those
battle
battles
scenes are good in that movie. Yeah.
But that battle scene right there, they nailed it. Exactly.
Well, when the guy's head blows off.
Yeah,
I remember that. When I saw that in the theater, I'm 12 years old. I was like, "What the?"
That scene right there. When I was in high school, that's what got me interested in the Civil War.
Yeah.
And then I discovered Frassanito's books after that, Antietam, and then Gettysburg, and that's basically how I got started in the Civil War when I was in high school. But what drives me nuts in watching any kind of Civil War movies is when they're not doing the right maneuvers or when somebody's hat doesn't look correct or what I mean?
See, that's interesting.
It just takes me
And
out
I
of it.
can't stand in the later. Sorry, Cole. In the more recent ones.
Yeah.
It was I think it was the 150th anniversary of Gettysburg thing that they did on the History Channel, and also Grant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't watch that.
I watched
They're
Grant.
it's like they're using Vietnam tactics.
Yeah, it drives me
in Grant.
crazy.
It was
to see. First of all, they weren't trained to fight. I mean, except for skirmish line,
right?
You weren't trained to fight 5 feet apart like that,
right?
And doing like a rush like that. They were specifically trained a certain way to aim over the shoulder and to be shoulder to shoulder to deliver a volley of fire towards their enemy. It wasn't until later when you started seeing, after the Civil War, when you started seeing more of an open formation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a reason for that too. So you think about a modern day fire team, like a Marine Corps fire team.
Mhm.
You have let's just say when I was in. So you have a few M16s, an M4.
Mhm.
So those are all semi-automatic, but they can put down a lot of rounds in a very short amount of time. And
Right.
you at least have one SAW, which is a belt-fed machine gun.
Right.
So that one fire team can put down the same amount of, if not more, fire, like more rounds downrange than a brigade would have in the same amount of time.
Mhm.
That's why they can be spread out.
Right,
because they can cover greater
because the
sectors
the
with their
weapons are
fire.
more advanced. But back then,
Right.
since you only had single fire, muzzle loading weapons, they had to amass the men to deliver a volley of fire towards the enemy and try to take, as many people down as possible.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until during the war when they were actually realizing, oh my God, this is not working.
Right.
We can't keep doing this because we're killing everybody.
Yeah.
That they started to move towards entrenching and weapons that were a little bit more repeated. Later after the war, they started doing that.
Yeah. So I like that idea, Colby. Let's do that.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
that. What's our first movie going to be?
Well, we do a few. So because I've seen there's a magazine that does GQ does reaction videos all the time for various things.
Right.
But they've had combat guys on there to be like, is this real? Is this fake? Is this what it would be like? So, maybe usually they'll do anywhere from 5 to 8 different movies. So I'm thinking,
all in one video?
Yeah, I'm thinking for us, we do 4 or 5 maybe, keep it kind of short.
All in one video?
Yeah, because you're not doing the whole movie. You're just doing specific
of course,
scenes.
right. You're doing right. But if you did Gettysburg, that's a lot of scenes.
It is a lot of scenes, but you could do Gettysburg multiple times too. You don't have to do just in one, one specific battle.
All right. Let's do that. I like that. That's a good idea. We should do that.
Let's move on. My angle is all my cousins that fought in American War.
What?
That's my angle to talk about. I just want to point out that I didn't have any.
That's funny.
My people came out of Germany after that Hitler guy started.
Wow. So you guys are suspect for
or
other
smart
reasons.
for leaving the country when they did.
By the way,
after Hitler.
Before I came here today, I went to the Gettysburg Museum of History, and I had never been in there before, and I was just in awe because that museum is so amazing.
Isn't it?
Yeah, and
yes.
I texted my wife. I'm like, I'm standing in front of Adolf Hitler's dress shirt right now.
Right.
Oh my God.
And Ava Braun's negligee.
Yeah, and
we got Dick Winters.
The Gettysburg Museum of History right down here.
He's got Dick Winters
next door.
uniform too.
What are you talking about?
I've never seen that in there.
First of all, we are in here because of them, so you can at least pretend that you know what we're talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I just don't remember seeing.
Oh! It's in. There's a room halfway through the building. There's a lot of stuff from World War II.
Yeah.
Japanese stuff, German stuff.
Must not have
And then
gone in that room.
Then the room with Kennedy's stuff in it.
Oh, that's my favorite.
The 2 little leather swatches with his blood on it. I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, and that was just from when he had a bloody nose in 1958. That was from the assassination.
See, that's funny because the thing I get the most excited about seeing over there is Dick Winters.
Well, that's the latest stuff. Yeah,
but I mean that's that. That's who I like. I anything about Dick Winters, I get like a little kid. I'm like, oh, that's freaking cool.
No, I know that whole room is awesome because it's not just Dick Winters. He's got other stuff in there that's related to the Band of Brothers.
And I have to say that museum, the way it's laid out, I love going in there because it's exactly how museums I think should be.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of how more modern layouts of museums where they only show you one relic.
It's more about design of the museum and telling a narrative, and it's just no, I like the old-fashioned way of just look at all
I
these.
miss the old Gettysburg Museum a lot.
Yeah, I know.
I used to go in there and it's like there's everything.
That's why I tell people the one museum you absolutely have to come to is the Gettysburg Museum of History.
Absolutely.
Because it's unlike any other museum that you've seen anywhere, not just here. Anywhere.
He's got so much stuff.
He's got
It's
so
just
much
everywhere. It's amazing.
And soon he's going to expand over into this building.
Oh, really?
Yeah, not for a while because there's still tenants up front and everything. But he's got big plans now because he's got 2 buildings, so he's got more room. There's so much stuff that he has in storage that isn't even there because there's just no room for it. Yeah. So I can't wait to see all the other stuff that he's got, and it's just going to be really neat. He's doing that guy Eric Dorr. He is onto something. Mm-hmm. He is onto something, I think.
I got the pleasure to speak to him for a little bit before I came over here, and it was really cool.
Yeah.
I almost I geeked out a little bit because I was like, oh my God, fanboy.
We were talking about that last night about people fawning over us, and I was like, nobody fawns over us really because we were.
He knew me when I walked in.
Yeah,
I felt really famous for a minute.
Mark knew you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He said, "I saw you. I see."
Because
you
I
on
know
the show.
I introduced you, and he's like, "I know who you are."
Yeah, I see you on the show.
Yeah, I was telling your son last week was amazing. It was adorable. Yeah, Ezra.
Thank you.
Little Ezra. We'll have Ezra on back again. He's going to do traffic reports.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be.
Oh, that'd be great.
Like that.
Let's move on. You doing news or events first?
She's the gal who knows what's going on. So take notes. There's a test at the end. Here's AG today's lead anchor, Veronica Brestensky, with news, traffic, weather, sidewalk conditions, and what's happening this weekend.
I must have all possible information.
Don't worry, guys. I got the Band-Aids.
Okay.
I don't even know what that is.
It's just a combination of Eric, the producer.
Oh.
I probably would have drowned me in a bathtub.
Was that
I've
a
always
cut?
been amazed.
Huh?
Was that a cut, or was that just him talking?
That was Eric.
Oh,
That
okay.
was-
I probably would have drowned me in a bathtub.
okay.
I've always been amazed that my parents let me live to physical maturity. If I were my parents, I would have killed me. Let's move on. Un gato grande en mis pantalones. I am a very pretty man.
All right, go ahead. What do you got in the news?
All right, news. The park is going to start a new project of road work out on the First Days Battlefield, as well as out on East Cavalry Field. It was going to start on September 5th. It's a
birthday.
3-month project, but it is going to take place overnight. So
Brilliant.
Yeah, so it's going to start from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., Sunday through Thursday, Friday being the rain date, and you're going to have some road closures and some weirdness out on First Days Battlefield especially.
So, like in the
You mean like
sunset
the-
hours, you're not going to be able to go there. But that's what, like 3 hours, 2-3 hours that you're not going to be able to go there.
Yeah, in
but
the
the rest of the day, you can go there. So all the people out there that's like, oh, well, I'm not coming back until they open all the roads. You don't have that
excuse anymore.
thank you, anymore, because they're doing it at night. And by the way, they've been paving roads for months now, a couple months now, and it feels so nice.
Oh my gosh.
To
it's
ride
Have they
on
opened
the
up
smooth
the
roads?
main entrance road yet?
The who?
The main entrance road that's been closed?
Oh, to the visitor center?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
it's
that
been
opened in
open
June.
since June.
Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
it really?
Oh, yeah.
I've stopped going that way because I went down there coming to your old studio. I
Oh,
went down
right.
it so many times, and I'd get there and I go crap, man.
Then you got to
I have
go
to
the
drive
other way.
all the way around and
Right, because they closed off Hunt Avenue. It wasn't
It was
two
one
ways.
way.
It was one way coming out.
And Granite Schoolhouse Road was one way.
Right. But yeah, no, it's all clear now. You can go there, and it's very nice. It's very nice. They've got the park services part of the road is that concrete, and then when it turns to the foundations property, it's nice smooth asphalt, and it is nice and smooth. Even when you go around the battlefield, it feels nice
Yeah, it's
under
a
the
whole-
tush.
It's a completely new world.
Yeah, it is.
It's
So
nice.
and you can survive without some of these roads, ladies and gentlemen. They're not closing all the roads. Stop being a baby.
I wonder if they're doing work out there, if there's a way to ask them if they could take down some of that growth that's growing on the railroad cut next to the 14th Brooklyn Monument.
That would be nice if they cleared some of that out. Yeah.
It's growing really high.
Yeah. Some of the stuff, needs to be trimmed back a bit. Okay, so continue. So 6P to 6A.
Yes.
They'll be closed for
And
the
for
next
3
week.
months.
3 what?
3 months. It's a 3-month project.
Wow.
For the first day?
First day in East Cav Field.
Are going to take 3 months?
I think also repairs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is like.
Well, I'm not
this
coming to
isn't just
Gettysburg
paving.
anymore. 3 months.
This isn't just paving. This is like fixing.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So there's more than just paving going on. But it'll be done at night, and that's fine. We can live with that, ladies and gentlemen. And plus, we're getting into fall soon, so it's not going to be light out past 6 o'clock in
Dude,
a little
it gets
while
dark
anyway.
So soon. It gets dark so early in the fall, man.
It's already starting to feel like it's dark outside. What?
I was so happy with how cool it was out this morning.
Dude, this morning felt amazing.
Beautiful.
Today was a
Well, wait, we can't
perfect
talk
day.
about that because we got to do sidewalk conditions.
Oh.
Oh, my bad.
I promised Jamie.
Well, I'm talking about Connecticut, so.
Okay, Connecticut.
It's like.
All right, go
I don't
ahead.
know what that was.
That was Eric laughing.
Oh, so and then another thing that is being discussed by the borough is about bus parking in town. So you're
Oh.
probably going to see some changes to the bus
Instead
parking.
of them parking in the middle of the road to let people off.
No. I heard about this last night at dinner. I can't say who my source is, but go ahead. Tell the official story first, and I'll tell you the conspiracy theory.
Well,
And then hurry because we have to get to Ollie on the phone to talk about Hawaii, and then we have to eat.
Okay, well, I don't know the official story.
All right, go ahead.
Because all I know is that when I was at the museum today, somebody was saying about we can't have buses there, and then somebody else was saying buses are going to be changing, so stay tuned. So then I saw that there had been a meeting and that shenanigans were going to ensue, and so I wanted to let everybody know to pay attention when you're driving around. Buses, things are probably going to change, so just be careful when you're out there.
Yeah, so the parking meters, you know how people are allowed to bag the parking meters?
Bag the meters, yeah.
So they're it's not that they're taking that away, but they're making it more difficult to do, unnecessarily so, because someone in the borough has an axe to grind with a certain business owner who wanted to do that or whatever, something having to do with wanting to do what everybody else is allowed to do. And she has been doing this, by the way, with one of her other businesses, but for some reason they don't want her, this person doesn't want her, has a guy, doesn't like her. And so now everybody has to
pay attention.
No, now everybody that's been doing it has to now jump through all of these unnecessary hoops because this person is trying to make it difficult for one business owner. This is life in a small town.
Can I ask if I know the business that this business owner owns on air? Or are we
I'm not
trying
gonna.
to keep
You
it
can
secret?
here. I'll wait. Hold on. You're in another room, so I can just take your mic off air. Go ahead. Say it in my ear. You are correct, sir.
Because they do
Wait.
it.
Hold on. Wait. Go ahead. Correct. Right. And I guess she wanted to expand it to the other one. And this is where the person's like, no. And then now, but then not only no, it's like, all right, if you want to do it, you got to do a handstand and you have to, like, it's just all this it's silliness.
Now, as somebody who works at a museum,
Yes.
that buses would come to,
Right.
and I don't have a parking lot,
Yeah.
that's big like that. Being able to pull a bus over would be a godsend.
Sure.
The problem being that you cannot always guarantee that that space is going to be available.
Right.
So,
And with this new way, you can't bag the spots all day long. And so like I forget exactly how it works. Cindy, do you remember how she said it goes?
I think it was that they have to rent the bags for a certain amount of time.
They have to rent the bags for a certain amount of time. Like, in other words, I know I have a bus coming at 2. So I need to rent the bags for 2. But the problem is, at 1:45, someone could park in the space. Or someone could have been parked in the space. Yeah, exactly. And they paid for 2 hours. And now it's just this big mess. And you can't, and then you have to do it through the app. Oh, it's just a pain in the...
And new apps are always crappy.
and it's annoying. And so
the parking app is not the best. I have a lot.
I haven't ever tried it. I've never tried it.
Speaking of all this stuff going on in Gettysburg, they're on a more positive note.
Oh, good.
Have you guys been over to the hotel that's on Chambersburg?
Yes, we
The
just
new
ate there
restaurant?
last night at
that place is freaking good. The
Sign of the Buck.
Yeah, Sign of the Buck.
Yeah, we had a
It was
delicious
good,
dinner
man.
there last night.
I've only been in the bar side. I haven't been on the restaurant.
We were on
side.
both sides.
Did you?
Nobody
Yeah.
invited me.
Well, I was invited. It's not my place to invite.
What'd you get? Did you get the venison steak?
I did.
It's good.
I
Isn't it?
did. It was very good, and I had we had mussels as an appetizer. They were good. They were small, but they were good.
Taylor would have enjoyed that.
Here's the thing, though, with fancy restaurants. You have a portion that's this big.
Yep.
While your bill is this big.
Yes.
And you go to like an average restaurant, like Fridays, right? It's a reasonably priced bill, $15, $18, $20 or something like that for the entree. But the portions are like this. It's the reverse of the fancy place.
Yep.
And this is why you don't see overweight rich people. Because they can afford to go to the restaurants with the small portions where they pay $50 for a half an ounce of,
Well, that's not true if you go to
veal.
like Ocean Prime or Capitol Grill, though. Those are nicer restaurants, and their portions are freaking huge.
I would say
I'm not familiar with those.
Restaurant afterwards.
Well, that's what I said to Cindy. I was like, where are we going to eat after?
And see
No, but
that-
we were full. I'm just teasing. But like it is something I noticed that you go to a fancy place and the portions are small, but they're very delicious. I mean, it's delicious. It's imaginative. The drinks are good.
I love their signage.
Yeah, their signage is nice. And they give you a postcard. It's on my refrigerator.
That's so cool.
Yeah, they give you a postcard at the end, and I was like, "What's this?" She's like, "It's a postcard." I go, "Yeah, but what for? What am I supposed to do with it?" It was neat. I just thought it was a neat touch. I don't understand it, but I loved it.
Well, now you have an advertisement, and you can send it to somebody else to advertise for them for free.
Brilliant.
Yeah. I think so too.
All right.
Start doing that.
What else you got? Because I got to get to Ollie on the phone here. We got to talk
That's
about
it for news.
All right, that's it for news.
This weekend, where the action is. What's there to do and see when you're in town this weekend? Here's Veronica to fill you in.
It's all covered.
And not
I got into
Veronica,
reenacting because I like the clothes.
Okay.
It's such a well-produced show.
Unmute me!
How's he doing? I miss him, man.
I miss him too.
Well, guess what? He's coming here this weekend.
Is he
and
really?
he will be at the Children's Museum
Wow,
on Saturday.
very good,
From
Maeve.
10 to noon, doing his leatherworking demonstrations for the kids on the front porch of the Children's Museum.
Awesome. I love that he comes and does that.
Yeah, and the kids love him.
They do love him.
Yeah. So I moved him onto the front porch. One, it's supposed to be, the weather's supposed to get
Oh,
hot
really?
quick. And then two, that way he can talk to kids as they exit. But
there
it's
you
free
go.
and open to the public, and you can
Where
come
you
and
going,
talk
kid?
to him. Yeah, we're going.
Hey, kid, where are you going?
Come see me
Come look at my leather.
work at some leather.
Want to see me work some leather?
Yeah.
I do what I can.
So he will be here this weekend.
Good. That's great.
And if we don't, we'll make it up.
Yeah, he's a sweetheart. I also am doing a coffee with a historian program at the train station on Sunday from 9 to 10 with Rob Abbott.
Oh.
You can sit around and talk and ask him any questions that you want. It's an open forum.
I like
Q&A.
that idea.
And there'll be coffee. And it's
And a historian.
$12.50. And then you also get ticket discount off your ticket.
$1,250?
$12.50.
Thank God.
And then you also get
It's like this inflation is getting out of
I
control.
know, right? You get $3 off a ticket to go through the train station
Okay.
experience.
Very good.
And that's from 9 to 10 on Sunday. Sunday.
Sunday.
You can get your tickets
Better your
at-
nose than another orifice.
What?
Whoa. You can get your tickets at gettysburgfoundation.org.
All right. And then
TAPS, this is the last weekend for TAPS.
Yep.
So you can do the LBG tour of the cemetery starting at 5:30. That ends around 6:30 when the ceremony will start at the Soldiers National Monument in the center of the cemetery. And the TAPS will play at 7.
Okay. I can't believe that.
Yeah.
I mean, God, it's amazing.
This year just flew by.
It just really did fly by.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Here we are.
I have 2 more
almost
events.
September.
Yeah, I know. All right, 2 more events. Go ahead.
Yep. On September 2nd, there are 2 events at the Historical Society. One is Gettysburg Rebels at 2 p.m. with Tom McMillan. We'll be talking about his book, Gettysburg Rebels, and he's adorable, so you should go out
We
there.
just had Tom on a couple of weeks ago talking about his Fort McHenry book. Our flag was still there.
Yeah.
Very fascinating.
Yeah.
And there's a Gettysburg connection.
Mm-hmm.
Besides
Armistead.
besides Armistead being related to Lewis Armistead, do you know what the other connection is?
No.
I wonder if I should tell
you
everybody
should
or
wait.
make them
You should
become
wait.
patrons to find out. All right, I'll tell everybody. Here's what it is.
You are a sucker to give away information.
I feel bad because there's this stigma behind getting paid for your work.
Gotcha.
People don't like that. But anyway, here we go. Armistead, Major Armistead, the commander of the fort, sent his wife away for her safety. Guess where he sent her?
Gettysburg.
Pennsylvania.
Wow.
Pennsylvania? Or
No, Gettysburg. I was finishing so people didn't
Okay.
get confused. Not South Dakota, because that wasn't a thing then. Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Sent her up here. That's right. And he came up and retrieved her. So now, can you imagine? He, of course, wouldn't know this, but
years
Major
later,
Anderson is
his
riding up here to retrieve his wife, and his nephew is going to die here.
Weird.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Ooh.
If only he knew what we know now.
Yeah.
Then.
Then.
All right, what else you got?
And at 10 a.m. At the Historical Society, they're going to do this really cool program about excavating the Jack Hopkins house, which was the black gentleman who was the janitor during the
at the college.
At the college.
Yeah.
And his house was behind Pennsylvania Hall.
Yeah.
And so they're going to talk about the excavation of that. And that seems pretty cool. And that's at 10 o'clock at the Historical Society.
When are they excavating? Or did they already?
I think they already did.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't know anything about that.
No,
so
I didn't
think
either.
That would be really cool to hear about.
That is pretty neat.
Abby's
me a
good
good
at putting the
excavation.
events together. Yeah.
What'd you say, Mark?
I said I love me a good excavation.
Oh, yeah. Who
doesn't?
doesn't? Who doesn't love a good excavation?
All right. And then that would be all I've got.
All right. Now, so everybody knows that, well, maybe you don't know because it's not really widely reported on the news. But Maui, Lahaina in Maui, on Maui, was burnt. And yes. Terrible wildfire. And we have a listener out there. Well, we have two listeners out there, but one of them is, I believe, a native Hawaiian. Is that correct, Ollie? Are you there now? Did you fall asleep?
Hello, Matt. I am still here, and I have been listening into your lovely conversation today.
Good. Thank you.
Actually, Matt, I will start by saying this. My mom was born here in the island. She was born a Tripler, actually.
Okay.
Her father, my dad's side of the family, he was actually at Pearl Harbor on December 7th.
Oh, my.
During the attack.
In the Navy?
He was on the Maryland.
Okay.
In the Navy, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in the Navy. So he went through all of that. But my own family is not Native Hawaiian. We're Chamorro. We're from the island of Guam in Micronesia.
Of Guam, okay.
So we are Pacific Islander. Yeah, we are from Guam, and very much like here in the islands, a lot of the same issues that people here contend with, Matt.
Sure.
Yeah, a lot of them, and even worse in some cases.
So, what island are you? You're on Oahu, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm on Oahu.
So now I've been to Oahu and Maui when I was a little kid, and it was so long ago, but it's so beautiful out there that it's like just emblazoned in my mind. I can't forget some of the things I saw out there. And I was talking to my father when the Maui fires occurred 3 weeks ago, and I said, I'm looking on the map, Dad, of Maui, and Lahaina looks like it's, in that little channel there across from Molokai. And I remember you pointing out Molokai to me and telling me about the leper colony and Father, what was it, Damien? Is that what his name was?
Yeah, Father Damien.
Yeah.
Damien.
And I said, is that where we went? Did we go to Lahaina? And he goes, yeah, that's right where we were.
Oh, my God.
And so I didn't, of course, I don't remember much about it because I was 8. But
you were 8 years old, Matt? Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, I was 8 years old. But I do remember as we were driving, I guess, from the airport to our hotel, we were driving through the sugarcane fields, and it was just beautiful. And there was this storm coming off the distance, the sun setting, and in one sky, and the storm's coming from the other sky, and it's that deep purple clouds, and the beautiful orange glow of the sun hitting from the other. And ever since that time, every time I'm in a sunset like that, I'm shot back to Hawaii, and it is that's my favorite. I love that, where there's like a dark, ugly sky on one side and a beautiful sunset on the other.
Talk about an artist's paradise.
Thank you. It is, and so Ollie, what I'm learning about Maui is from YouTube channels of people who live on Maui. I'm not getting a lot of information from the media. And so tell me, from what you know, I mean, obviously you're not on Maui, but you know people, I'm sure. So what are you hearing about? Let me ask you, I'll ask you a question that concerned me that I heard the other day, that the State Department of Education has reported that 2,000 children have not reported for school.
Like they're missing?
They have. This is what I want to know.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about this? Have you heard this?
About that particular information, I do not. In fact, it's interesting you mentioned that because the governor hasn't mentioned that in his statements. He's actually doing this, Matt. Governor Green's issuing these daily updates on the social media, and that is a number I haven't seen. And he has a whiteboard. He actually has this. He started doing this, Matt, during the COVID pandemic when he was lieutenant governor. He had a whiteboard out, and he would always have all these numbers and statistics regarding the pandemic.
Right.
So he's basically doing the same thing he did during the pandemic, Dr. Green. Who's also, by the way, Dr. Green from your state. He's from Pittsburgh originally.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a native from there.
He says yins,
he
too.
came out to the Big Island. What's that?
He says yins, too.
Okay.
It's a Pittsburgh thing.
Sorry, I think that might have flew over me there, Matt.
Yeah.
But anyway, the governor, Governor Green, he's been putting out a lot of numbers. The one he's been focusing on, because I saw his update from a few hours ago, Matt, is that the numbers of unaccounted for are dropping. And he believes it's going to go down into the double digits. That's what he's saying.
Okay.
I did not hear that information about the school children. In fact, I didn't even see that in the media because I was looking at all this before speaking to you, Matt. So I didn't see it on Quechua News. The Civil Beat wasn't putting this in the front unless they were reporting it earlier. They may have. I did know that there has been conversation about when they're going to, reopen the schools. There's a lot going on in West Maui right now, Matt. I mean, I was reading an article. They had a meeting, I think the Maui County Council, because each of the islands has its own county council, basically. So Maui has theirs. And it was a very, very intense discussion, Matt, because what the governor's trying to do right now is he passed this emergency proclamation, or he issued one, to basically, I think in his words, to cut the red tape to speed up, building housing. But now there are many residents in Maui who are upset that the governor basically did this without talking to them. And so they went to this meeting, Matt, to the Maui Council meeting, and they were, the ones who went there were just venting. Like, it's not that they're not against speeding things up, Matt, but they want to be informed. And they don't just want people to go in and say, like, okay, this is what we're going to do, and not insult them.
Okay.
That irritates the locals there in Maui.
That makes sense.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, sorry, Matt. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, okay. So while you were talking, I kind of Googled it to find something, and this one, now I'm not familiar with this site. It's greatgameindia.com. So who knows?
Reliable?
Yeah, I don't know. But
That's interesting. Okay.
yeah, well, but they quote the Honolulu Star Advertiser. Are you familiar with that paper?
Yeah, that's their main newspaper.
Okay, so it says the Honolulu Star Advertiser shared that a private school on Maui has witnessed a significant influx. They've seen around 1,000 fresh applications since the fire. However, the article also discussed another private school where the fire had dire consequences. A school with 200 students faced destruction due to the fire. Okay, so they're saying that this one school is claiming 1,000 kids have applied to this private school since the fire. So maybe some of those 2,000 that are unaccounted for because they're trying to go to a private school. So hopefully that's the case.
Right.
But what I'm hearing from a lot of people on the ground in Maui, residents of Lahaina, they're saying, where are all these children? Where are these other people? Why are you? And then there's also, how about this, Ollie? What's with the water issue? They weren't allowing water to go there. And then the police block it, telling people to go back into the fire and not letting them out. What is that? Is that real, or is this like conspiracy theory stuff?
Well, I'll separate those two, and I'll deal with the water first, Matt.
Go ahead.
Because the water issues on Maui are themselves fascinating. I am not as well versed in them as even other places in our country, particularly California. But from what I know, and even the governor has mentioned this too, that in West Maui, there's been an ongoing and long-standing battle between big property owners, the water companies, it's basically there's all these people that want water, and there's only so much water.
Right.
And, you know, the big guys, they tend to get the water. And in the state of Hawaii, the big guys are, you know, the agricultural interests, like the big ones, but probably more in West Maui. And again, I'm not, well-versed in this.
Right.
This is just my thinking. The tourism industry, Matt. Probably the tourism industry. Because I don't know if you remember, did you remember going to Kaanapali Beach, Matt?
I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you.
Okay, so you just remember is sunshine, sunset, paint field. Okay.
Yeah, and hula skirts,
and Molokai,
grass skirts, and
my first time in Hawaii, what I remember, Matt, was seeing big, tall buildings. Coming out of Guam, I was like 5 years old in the late 80s. And I just remember, and I told a class this, I was telling the teacher, my first memories of Hawaii is how big this place is, like a city. And she told me, it's like, wow, that's amazing that you remember. That's your first images of Hawaii is how developed it is. Most people come out here, Matt, and they talk exactly what you guys are mentioning. And I kind of have this different understanding of Hawaii as this bigger place than where I am originally from, in Guam, in Micronesia. But anyways, to answer your question, like Kaanapali is the big tourism, like the hotel destination resort on West Maui. That's where most of the hotel rooms are in Maui. And that area, I can tell you, because I've been there to Kaanapali, Matt, they use up a lot of water. They have sprinklers everywhere. There's a golf course, swimming pools galore. They use up a lot of water in West Maui. And so who's going to get the rest of the water? And
I guess
that's been going on for
I
years,
guess
Matt.
what has people a little perturbed is that there's a entire town on fire, and it's like, okay, I understand agriculture, tourism, all that other stuff, but would they not understand that we need to divert some water to put out some fires? I don't get it. So I don't know. It's very strange.
Right.
And so I guess I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but all the information that I can find is kind of perplexing, to say the least. But when you go to the trusted news sources out there, they're telling you very little. They're not telling you much of anything. And so and that's why I said I'm following YouTube channels of people from Maui who are there walking around with their cameras showing you all these weird things. What's the deal with the blue cars? Have you heard of this?
No.
Things that are blue survive the fire? And there's like these weird photos of blue cars. Like there's shots of all the cars on the coastal road all burned, but there's like a couple of blue ones that are the only thing that's burned are like the tires. It's the weirdest thing. I don't understand it.
Maybe it was lasers, man.
Are those photographs
that
you're
is
saying?
interesting.
Video and photo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is interesting, Matt. Wow.
So, okay, but Ollie, what is the scuttlebutt in Hawaii among the citizens? Are they saying, what is going on here? What is? Do you guys? Are you believing everything that the chief of police is saying and that the governor is saying, or are you all kind of skeptical?
Right. Well, thank you for asking that question, Matt, because it is a very good one, and that I can answer, Matt. I've talked to some, people here. Actually, one of my Uber drivers, he says he's an engineer. He was one of the designers of the rail project. So we were talking story last weekend, and he's like, and his name was Richard, man. He's like, he's like, Ollie, I was talking to Mayor Mufi Hanneman years ago about this, and his nickname for the mayor was Muffy. He said he was a total dingbat. He was very honest about this with me, Matt. It really was. Just went all in out. And he's like, the reason why, we have to choose steel on steel rail, which has a lot of, complications doing that sort of rail development. He says the reason why, according to him, is because the mayor was trading in favors with the steel companies. He took basically a bribe from them, and so he's returning the favor. That's to give you an idea, Matt. A lot of locals in the community, and I grew up with this on Guam too, Matt. A lot of people here in the islands, we're very skeptical of the government.
Yeah.
Because for many years, Matt, and I'm being very honest with you about this, Matt, for many years the government has screwed over a lot of people.
Sure.
A lot of people.
I know.
And growing up in Guam, in a way it's even worse because you have the government in Guam and Gov Guam. If you think the government in Hawaii is bad, Matt, wait till you hear the stories about Gov Guam. They had a typhoon in Guam this year, and there was a mayor in the Guam legislature yelling at the governor because they weren't providing supplies to the mayors. The mayors were getting angry at the governor in the legislature about this in Guam, Matt.
Yeah.
And what complicates things too, Matt, this is the first thing I want to tell all of you guys in Gettysburg. What complicates things here and in Guam is the military.
Yeah.
The military, Matt, has a lot of say over both island groups. A lot of people here don't really think about the military because here a lot of the talk's on the tourism industry and how big they are. But really, Matt, the federal government, the military, I mean, that's the reason why Hawaii became a state, basically. That's the reason why Hawaii was annexed.
Right.
For Pearl Harbor, for the locations. They used to have bases on Maui. Those all went away, basically. I mean, the airport used to be a World War II airfield, Kaului.
Okay.
But the military has a lot of resources. And some people have asked, and I think this is a good question, why weren't more of those resources there right away?
Right.
Why did it take the government so long to get it, get organized? And there's been a lot of questions about that.
Right.
The power system as well is a serious question. And Matt, I've walked my neighborhood streets. I've seen branches literally hovering over the power lines. I've taken pictures of it now.
Mm-hmm.
If we had a really bad event, like let's say a real hurricane came through like a category 4 or 5 and just swept through, the south shore of Oahu, I can tell you this, Matt, all of that would get blown down.
Mm-hmm.
It would get blown down, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
It's a serious issue that people for years have basically not paid attention to, ignored. We're dealing with Red Hill still right now, and that has really angered many in the community.
What you're dealing with?
There's
What?
a lot with the Red Hill crisis at Pearl Harbor, the Red Hill water crisis.
Oh, okay, it's water.
That's
Okay.
involving the U.S. Navy. I mean, basically, they had this underground fuel tank since Pearl Harbor, and then the oil started leaking into the local water supply.
Oh God.
Which is really bad, Matt. Then that too is bad enough.
Thanks, Ollie. Yeah.
I mean, and that it's basically, it's that between the Navy and the local government. Matt, one of the reasons actually why I left Guam is because things at Guam were so screwed up. Here in Hawaii, I know this doesn't sound like that from what I'm saying, things are a little better.
Yeah.
But here, even in the islands, it's still very much you're at the mercy of a lot of things outside of your control. The tourism industry, the federal government. And so when I began learning more about your community out there at Gettysburg and what's been going on with the Park Service and the federal government, and I'm like, really? This is just like home, basically, for me.
Right.
And that, for me, was a revelation, Matt. It really was.
Yeah,
I'm
you
sorry,
guys
I
aren't
mean
the
to
only
talk-
ones that have to deal with them, and I guess that's the thing is are we dealing? I guess the question is, and this is something that you would know because you're out there and you talk to people who are also out there. Is it incompetence or is it something sinister? I guess is really what.
Or is it just red tape upon red tape upon red tape?
Or is it bureaucracy?
Mm-hmm. Well, if it's between incompetence and bureaucracy, here in the islands, from my experience, guys, it's both.
Yeah.
Hawaii has a lot of red tape, bureaucratic red tape. Now, a lot of it is, was done with a positive intention to help the community. And there's a lot of laws in our community that I would like to say are pretty advanced for our country even, and even compared to Guam, which has much less red tape than Hawaii does locally. But the incompetence also, too, and that's both here and in Guam, too. There's just officials that come in, and they just, they do favors or they help their friends. In Guam and also here too, you help your friends or your relatives. It's who you know. It's who you went to high school with. It's that sort of very parochialness. And if you're not one of those people, Matt, if you're an outsider,
Yeah, sure.
you're kind of at the short end of the stick,
Well, that
But the other
depresses
thing I
me.
want to mention to you. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That depresses
this
me
part
that
might
it's
depress you guys.
the same you know, like you'd think in Hawaii, where everything is a paradise,
It's pretty typical
that
everywhere.
everybody would be like, let's do the best we can to
Right.
make this even more of a paradise. But no.
Yeah, well, you call someplace paradise, kiss it goodbye. Okay? That's a quote from the Eagles.
Yep. That being said, guys, and I wanted to mention this. I was going to mention something else, but I'm going to go right to this now. There is something I've noticed in this community, and it's a really, really positive thing that I have not even seen in my home island of Guam. The way this community came together, the way, you know, Matt, there were people literally going into their 20-footer boats with, like, propane canisters, like, the day after the fires. And they were already going out in those boats to, like, some beach up in West Maui to start a supply chain.
Mhm.
I never saw that in Guam, Matt. Not in all the years I was out there. That was impressive.
I saw a video of
like
that. The people were taking their boats over from Molokai with supplies, and they had like a human assembly line going.
Yeah.
Like the boat just came right up
Yeah.
to the beach, and they were just handing stuff off, and people were handing it back into the town because the supplies are not coming from FEMA. FEMA officials are staying in $1,000 a night hotel rooms, and people in Maui get $700 for the whole family.
Right. It's always the community that steps up. Right.
Yeah, it's real people that step up, and God bless them. Thank God for it. I'm telling you, it's very disappointing, and it just I don't know why. Yeah. But I hate to say this because I don't mean to trivialize it, and I don't mean to sound like Alex Jones or something, but it just reeks of like the Washita massacre. Like there's something about this that seems nefarious, and I don't know what it is, but it's just everything is weird about it. I'm not even talking about the fire. I'm talking about the behavior of the officials and the things that they did or did not do. Something's not right.
Yeah.
You know, your spidey sense gets up.
Can I ask a quick question?
Go ahead. Mark's got a question.
From your perspective, no, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was just wondering. One of the things I heard was something about the government buying the land back up as an eminent domain type of thing. Is there any truth to that at all?
Oh, both the governor and Mayor Richard Bisson on Maui have both very clearly stated they're not doing that.
Okay.
They've actually repeatedly been saying this in public. They're, of course, the eminent domain, the concept there, but they're not practicing it. They're basically saying that we're not doing that.
Okay.
They said that very clearly.
They're saying that, but I'm seeing citizens of Maui, of Lahaina, saying that's exactly what they're doing. They're being stonewalled, trying to get any kind of compensation. Like people are saying that they go to get some kind of help to restore their property, and they go, well, you need to show proof of ownership. Well, asshole, it burned in the fire with everything else I have. Yeah. So what do you mean I need to show you? You pull it up. You've got the records. You pull it up.
Yeah, no, I'm not surprised to hear that from the folks in Maui, Matt, because one of the concerns I do have, I've noticed this from the press conferences, especially Governor Green. He puts out a lot of numbers, Matt.
Yes.
A lot of numbers.
To confuse.
But here in the islands, it's about people. It's about relationships. It's about the way you treat people. And you can put out all the numbers out there, but if you're trying to go to someone and say, hey, I need help, and they're giving you exactly what you just said, the cold treatment, and this is not the first time it's happened out here.
Oh, I'm sure.
And it's happened even in Guam, too. It's that, and what makes it even more painful here in the islands, that's not the way we treat one another.
Right.
We treat each person individually. That the true Hawaii, what you saw with those people helping each other, that's Hawaii.
Yep.
That's people coming together, and they don't need anybody to tell them what to do.
Yep.
I remember when Noah Thompson said that, and he said this publicly. We're not going to wait for anyone. We're not going to wait for the government. We take care of each other.
Yeah.
And that, to me, Matt, if there's anything that I've learned in the 18 years I've lived in these islands, it is that. And it's something I have not even fully seen on my island in the Pacific.
Yeah.
I say this is a really positive thing about the Hawaiian.
I know, and that's what gives me hope is when I see those videos. It reminds me of 9/11 because I was in North Jersey after 9/11. during 9/11, and people from my town, fire departments, EMS, police, they're all going out there. They're volunteering to help. There was the footage of on the news as they're coming in from New Jersey across the bridges, people applauding them, and I mean it was beautiful. I'm getting choked up, and then and so it reminds me of that, and it just also reminds me that look. Our government F's us all in the A all the time, right? But you guys are our fellow Americans. We love you. We worry about you. We hope that everything turns out well. Is there any way that you're aware of, any organizations that you're aware of that are above board and are actually going to help the people they claim to help that you can recommend that we donate to?
Well, the best, and this is a local organization. So this isn't the American Red Cross. There is the Hawaii Community Foundation.
Hawaii Community Foundation.
The Hawaii Community Foundation. They have a website. You can even use PayPal to donate directly to them.
Perfect.
Yeah. So they're a great, and there's other resources that you can connect to from them as well.
Okay, perfect. So Google that, ladies and gentlemen, Hawaii Community Foundation, and then donate something.
God bless you guys.
Yeah, I should also mention one more thing, guys, because I was just reading this. Tomorrow on September 1st, there's a special ceremony we're doing. It's called Kipuni Aloha no Maui. It's a statewide, I think they're even trying to make this worldwide, Matt. It's a vigil ceremony. It's going to be on the news. It's going to be streamed. And I actually DM'd you this on Instagram, Matt, the poster for it as well.
Okay.
It has all the information there for you. Yeah.
Good, I'll check it out.
Share that with your audience. Yeah,
I will.
Definitely. Yeah.
All right, well, listen, Ollie.
And mahalo nui loa, guys. Thank you.
Pardon?
Thank you, guys.
What'd you say?
Yeah. Mahalo nui loa. Thank you so much, guys.
Mahalo loa to you too, and someday I would love to get out there again, but that is such a trek to go to Hawaii. It was like an 11-hour plane ride.
That flight is brutal.
Yeah. I'd have to go first class. I can't fit in coach anymore.
Yeah. God bless to all you guys.
Yeah, really. No, seriously. God bless you. And like I said, we're all Americans, and we love you guys. I mean, you guys. Look, I've always had an affinity for Hawaii ever since I went there as a kid, and every time I see something about it, you're right. The people are just really nice. You always see smiling faces. And everybody just seems friendly. And how could you not be? You live in paradise. Like, how could you not be happy and friendly and everything like that? And so it's a real shame to see. And let's not even get into, because we got to get going, but the history that was destroyed.
Yeah.
Lahaina is a sacred place, right, for Hawaiians, for Native Hawaiians.
It is one of the most. It was one of the most historic communities in the whole state, including during the early settlement period. It had a lot of history. Yeah.
That's what's so sad to me.
Yeah.
Well, that and the lives lost and the lives ruined, and the however many that are still missing. I mean, it's terrible. So, listen, Ollie, thank you very much for calling in.
Thank you.
Thanks for sitting on hold for as long as you did, and I'm glad we got to you. And thank you for the insight. And keep me posted if there's anything you want me to share. Okay.
I will, Matt. I will definitely. Thank you guys so much, too. Thank you.
You're welcome.
God bless you all.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. God bless you as well. And that's it for us, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to Mark Maritato for coming in. Thank you for Colby for staying awake back there. Thank you to Bethany for filling in for Ronnie. And thank you for Cindy for answering some of my questions. I wasn't sure of certain things. Of course, thanks to Ollie for calling in and everybody else that called in for Mark. Marky, thank you so much for the pictures.
You're welcome.
And we'll talk to you guys next week. Goodbye.
Addressing Gettysburg Today is produced by Matt Callery and Veronica Brestensky Esquire and broadcasts from the Gettysburg Museum of History Studios. Engineered by Colby Sumner and sometimes someone else. Guest accommodations are provided by the guests themselves. Who are we? Vanderbilts? But if you want us to take better care of them, become a patron at patreon.com/Addressing Gettysburg. I'm Huevos Grande, the voice of Addressing Gettysburg. Thanks for listening.
So he made a thoroughfare for freedom and her trade. 60 miles is ladder to 300.
COVID.
If it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's not a chicken. Oh, yeah.
Nice clothes.
Bonfire.
What happened?
Avril his mint elegantly.
I got a real red wagon. That's right.
This concludes our broadcast day.